Chapter 730. This was a completely crazy move. If Su Yun had the Imperial equipment and the clear sky holy robe, he would still be able to survive in the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain and not be corroded by the evil chi and sword chi. However, once he lost these two things, he would definitely die. At this moment, he was completely gambling with his life. Have you thought it through? Ling Qingyu was still worried and asked softly. Of course I've thought about it. Su Yun said seriously, right now, there is no other choice. If what you said is true, then, when the clear sky holy robe and the 7th tier imperial equipment fuse together, it will definitely give birth to an even more powerful divine object. Maybe with this divine object, it will be able to buy me more time to escape the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain. Hearing that, Ling Qingyu did not say a word. Actually, Su Yun had his own plans. If not for this natural green lotus, Su Yun would have also taken a risk. Currently, there were countless of spirit cultivator outside attacking the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain, and they could not hold on for long. The idea of digging a tunnel to escape out of the mountain could no longer continue, and if that was the case, other than using the two Imperial equipment as to fight, Su Yun had no other choice. Losing the clear sky holy robe would prevent many people from finding trouble with him, but rather than that, he might as well use it to gamble. Fusion also required time, and there was not much time left. At this time, he could only bet everything on this. Su Yun had made his decision, and naturally did not plan to change it. He took a deep breath and placed the sword sheath at his waist on the ground. Although the limitless sword sheath was not an ordinary magic treasure, it was not a defensive artifact. Without the protection of the holy robe, it would probably only be able to hold on for 6 hours. How long will it take to fuse? Su Yun asked. I'm not sure. Ling Qingyu shook her head. She had only heard about the natural green lotus treasure. How could she possibly know about this kind of thing? Su Yun could understand. I will enter the sword sheath to fuse with it. The sword sheath can isolate the chi and allow me to fuse with it peacefully. I hope it can finish fusing quickly. Otherwise, once the limitless sword sheath is destroyed, everything will be over. Once the sword sheath is damaged, the consequences will be dire. Ling Qingyu said. It's not over. Su Yun said indifferently. If I can't complete it in 6 hours, I can only use that move. Ling Qingyu was startled. Which move? Su Yun did not say anything, and only touched the death sword on his back. Sword Ancestor's Sword Chi Storm. Ling Qingyu was stunned. The limitless sword sheath could never be destroyed. The Sword Ancestor had once said that there was a terrifying evil sword sealed inside the sword sheath. If the sword sheath was destroyed, the evil sword would appear in the world, and the 10,000 worlds would not be at peace. Since you have the Sword Chi Storm, why didn't you just use it to kill those spirit cultivators? Ling Qingyu regained her senses and asked. I have no choice, I don't want to use it. Su Yun shook his head. I want to use it in a more suitable place. What's more, it's not like I have nowhere else to go. With that, Su Yun opened the limitless sword sheath and entered. The sword scabbard fell into the pile of bones, and its divine power dissipated. Sword chi, evil chi, and corpse poison chi immediately started to corrode the sword scabbard. After entering the world of the sword sheath, Su Yun fell onto a white jade platform. Ling Qingyu stood there barefooted in her white robes. When she saw Su Yun, she immediately walked over. You've consumed a lot of profound chi before. You should sit down and recover some of your aura before proceeding with the fusion. I will help you. No need, time is of the essence. We have to start now. Su Yun took a deep breath and sat down cross-legged. He activated the natural green lotus, then took off the clear sky holy robe on his body. He took out the small flag of the 7th tier Imperial equipment and placed them in front of the Imperial equipment. When the two magic treasure approached, the green lotus reacted. It slowly bloomed, and an emerald green lotus imprint slowly appeared at the bottom. The more it spun, the bigger it became, until it was the size of a wash basin. Only then did it stop, and the lotus petals on the left and right were glowing brightly. Seeing that, Su Yun immediately understood what to do. He immediately picked up the clear sky holy robe and the Imperial equipment and placed them on the petals. When it was placed on the petal print, the print immediately shrank. It dragged the two magic treasure into the natural green lotus and disappeared. Slowly, the light on the surface of the green lotus dimmed. There was no movement for a long time. What's going on? He stared at the green lotus, his face full of confusion. After injecting a bit of profound chi into the green lotus started to emit a bit of light, but when the profound chi was withdrawn, the light faded again. Could it be that the fusion requires constant injection of profound chi? Su Yun was startled. Of course, do you still want it to work on its own? Only by continuously activating the profound chi can you slowly fuse it, just like cooking rice. If there is no fire, how can you cook rice? Furthermore, this fire needs to last for a period of time, otherwise the rice will not be cooked. Ling Qingyu said. Hearing that, Su Yun nodded his head. He immediately sat down cross-legged and stared at the green lotus seriously. He extended his palm out and placed it on the petals and started to inject profound chi into it. When the profound chi entered the green lotus immediately lit up again. It was extremely intense. It was just that the amount of profound chi that was injected into it was extremely large. If it was small, the green lotus would not have any reaction and could only use all of the profound chi to frantically transport inside. After a while, Su Yun felt that he could not hold on any longer. His face was covered in beads of perspiration, and his expression became ugly. He had already used up a lot of profound chi. How could he still use the profound strength like this? Seeing that, Ling Qingyu, who was at the side, immediately sat down and patted Su Yun's back, imbuing the profound chi into his body. With Ling Qingyu's help, Su Yun finally slowed down by a lot, but this was just a cup of water. The profound chi required by the green lotus was extremely huge. In less than half an incense stick of time, Su Yun had completely dried up, and all of the profound chi was injected into the green lotus. Stop, Qingyu! Su Yun struggled to move his hand away from the green lotus and said weakly. Hearing that, Ling Qingyu immediately stopped. What's wrong? Not enough. Su Yun stared unwillingly at the green lotus in front of him that was gradually weakening, his face turning ugly. Not enough. You are at the peak of the 6th stage of the Sky Spirit Master. Is all of your profound chi not enough for it to fuse? Not enough. Far from enough. Even with your profound chi, it's still not enough. I can feel it. Su Yun clenched his fists tightly, and in the end, he loosened them. Looks like I can't fuse them. I can only use the sword storm. Su Yun would rather sacrifice the clear sky holy robe than use the sword storm. It was not that he was unwilling, but the sword storm was not a one-time thing. It belonged to the source energy of the sword ancestor, and was only sealed within the death sword. Su Yun could undo the seal on the death sword and release the sword storm. And after the sword storm was released, the power would float between heaven and earth. And if he wanted to use the power again, he would have to seal it back into the death sword. Of course, sealing it again was not a simple matter. But what Su Yun cared about was not the use and recovery of the sword storm, but the consequences of using it. Towards enemies, Su Yun would never be lenient, but towards unrelated people, he did not have the urge to kill indiscriminately. Once this kind of power was unleashed, it would destroy more than half of the realm. Although Su Yun had been bewitched, he was still a human. Countless innocent lives were going to die in his hands. How could he be indifferent? This was human nature. Although he was at the 6th stage of the Sky Spirit Master, Su Yun was still unable to jump out of the 3 realms. He closed his eyes and remained silent for a moment. In the end, he still pulled out the death sword and slowly stood up. Although this hurdle was difficult for him to cross, after training in the quiet world, he was no longer the Su Yun of the past. Maybe I, Su Yun, will let you down, but as matters stand, I have no other choice. He thought, and was about to turn around and leave the sword sheaths world. This decision might cause the prosperous sword world to decline from then on. But was there any other way? Su Yun, come with me. Just then, Ling Qingyu seemed to have thought of something and anxiously grabbed onto Su Yun's hand. Where to? You just have to come. Ling Qingyu shouted, and then pulled him into the air, rushing forward. One after another, the sword discourse arena that was filled with treasured swords appeared in Su Yun's line of sight. Thinking about it carefully, there were still many treasured swords that could be used, but thinking about how these treasured swords were used to suppress the ominous swords, Su Yun did not dare to be too greedy. The current swords were enough, the more the better, and furthermore, the later stages of the limitless sword arts did not rely on such a material weapon. After passing through the sword discourse stage one after another, they arrived at the edge of the void. There was nothing. At a glance, it was a vast expanse of whiteness. There was nothing. But Ling Qingyu continued to drag Su Yun forward. Su Yun looked at Ling Qingyu, only to see that her beautiful face was filled with a serious expression and did not look like she was messing around. Calculating the time, an hour had already passed, and there was not much time left. If he could not fuse the clear sky holy robe and the 7th-tier imperial equipment within 6 hours, he could only give up on this method and leave the sword sheath. Su Yun calculated the time in his heart, but Ling Qingyu seemed to have no sense of time and continued to fly forward. After flying for a full hour, he finally stopped. From here to the exit of the sword sheath's world, it would probably take an hour. In other words, Su Yun could only stay here for an hour, and if he exceeded the time limit, the consequences would be unimaginable. "We're here." Ling Qingyu let go of Su Yun's hand and laughed. Hearing that, Su Yun raised his head and looked forward, only to see white clouds floating in front of him, and upon closer inspection, he could see that there seemed to be something behind the clouds. It was an extremely large figure, even larger than a mountain range. From north to south, it was faintly discernible behind the clouds. Mountain? Is there a mountain in the sword sheath? Su Yun could not help but mutter. "That's not a mountain." Ling Qingyu shook her head. "Not a mountain? What is it? Don't ask what that is. Come quickly. Let's see if this method can help you fuse with the green lotus." Ling Qingyu said. She pulled Su Yun down, and, with a sound, she landed on the ground. Su Yun felt as if he was stepping on a piece of iron. The soles of his feet emitted an incomparably heavy feeling. It was definitely not a feeling that stone or soil could give him. He lowered his head to look. It turned out that below him was a ground that seemed to be made of steel. Chapter 731. "Su Yun, you can start the fusion here," Ling Qingyu said. "Here." Su Yun was a little suspicious. "What exactly is this place?" "A very special place. Although I don't know what this place is, compared to other places, this place is especially special." Ling Qingyu waved her hand and gestured. "You don't know the structure of this sword sheath's world. It is actually a huge ball, and those divine sword discourse stages are like small balls inside the ball. They will float everywhere, sometimes going south, sometimes going north, and the entire sword sheath's world will be in chaos. But no matter what, they will not be able to escape from the sword sheath because there is this layer of iron blocking them. Look, it's the iron beneath your feet. They're like the edge of the sword world. I don't know what this iron is made of, but I can tell you, this iron is harder than any iron I have ever seen. Not only that, this iron also contains a dense, profound chi. This profound chi is extremely mystical. As though it contains holy energy, if it can be absorbed and turned into your own, the benefits will be endless. Su Yun, aren't you exhausted of your profound chi? You can extract some profound chi from this steel and use it to activate the green lotus." Ling Qingyu said. Hearing that, Su Yun thought for a moment, then sat down with one hand on the ground. He closed his eyes and started to feel it. After a while, Su Yun's face revealed a look of surprise. This steel actually has a dense, profound chi. Can it be absorbed? It might be difficult to absorb, but this profound chi is very unique. I have never seen such a unique profound chi before, like steel but not steel, like soft but not soft, like sharp but blunt, like blunt but sharp. It is simply all-encompassing. This is not a power that I can control, but it doesn't mean that I can't use it for myself. Su Yun's face revealed a happy smile. This chi is extremely mystical. I reckon that my body is unable to withstand this chi, but it is not difficult to guide it into the natural green lotus. With that said, Su Yun immediately started to drive. mobilizing the profound chi inside the steel. Using himself as a channel, he poured it into the natural green lotus. He did not understand these auras, so how could he dare to let them stay in his body for long? After the profound chi entered his body, it immediately poured into the green lotus, not daring to slack off in the slightest. What was surprising was that after Su Yun's guidance, the green lotus once again emitted light, and the light was countless times brighter than before. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The green lotus let out a series of muffled sounds. It was like a high-speed machine, and even the stones were vibrating. With this miraculous iron ground as his support, Su Yun felt that the profound chi was endless, inexhaustible. In less than the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, the green lotus was completely filled. With a pa sound, the green lotus's light dimmed again, but this time it was not because of the lack of profound chi, but because the fusion had ended. The he stone was silent for a moment before it slowly bloomed. There was no dazzling light, no amazing scene, just a slow bloom. Everything was very natural. However, Su Yun's heart was not calm at all, as though he was suspended in the air. Even when facing the countless spirit cultivator, he had never been as nervous as he was now. His eyes stared straight at the lotus stone, his eyes unblinking, his eyelids not moving at all, his heart beating wildly, the back of his palms covered in sweat. Ling Qingyu was the same. She stood by Su Yun's side, her autumn eyes staring intently, not moving an inch. After the lotus stone completely bloomed, with a pu sound, the lotus stone shattered. The moment the lotus stone shattered, Su Yun felt his heart suddenly twitch. But very quickly, something appeared from within the shattered lotus stone. The two of them immediately stepped forward. A grayish-white battle robe appeared in Su Yun's line of sight. It's a success. Ling Qingyu stared blankly at the battle robe and cried out involuntarily. Su Yun was also stunned. His heart seemed to have stopped beating. His brain seemed to have been completely destroyed, and he could no longer think. His eyes seemed to be glued to the battle robe. Only after a long time did the two of them regain their senses. Su Yun slowly extended his hand and touched the battle robe. His fingertips moved on the battle robe, causing a circle of light to surround his fingertips. How magical, how mysterious. It's a success, Su Yun muttered. Although it was not strange for a 50% chance of success, this suffocating feeling was too shocking and too profound. And the joy of success was like a monstrous wave that assaulted everyone's heart. He could hardly describe what he was feeling at this moment. The two of them stared at the battle robe, their brains unable to react. The clear sky holy robe and the 7th-tier imperial equipment are both divine objects. Now that these two treasures have fused together, what kind of power would they have? Ling Qingyu was also a little excited. Su Yun quickly put on this divine object and test its performance. Yes, Su Yun nodded and picked up the battle robe. When the battle robe was lifted, the originally grayish-white color suddenly changed, turning completely white. What was going on? He brought the battle robe closer and took a closer look. At this time, the color of the battle robe changed again, and at this moment, it had actually turned transparent. If not for Su Yun holding the battle robe, he would not have known that it was in his hands. Where's that robe? Ling Qingyu saw that the battle robe had disappeared into Su Yun's hands, and immediately asked in surprise. This battle robe seems to change color. Su Yun said. Change color. Su Yun thought for a while, then lifted the battle robe down, and the color of the battle robe immediately changed again. Did the light source change color? He waved the battle robe around, and sure enough, the light source was different, and the color of the battle robe was also different. But what was the use of this? If he wore it on his body, he would be able to control the color of the battle robe. That would be useful, such as the transparent invisibility from before. However, since it was a divine object, it would definitely not be ordinary. Su Yun anxiously put on the battle robe. When the battle robe was on his body, Su Yun felt as if a feather had landed on his body. It was not affected at all, and in his heart, there was a strange mystical line, a line that was connected to Su Yun and the battle robe. He immediately sat down cross-legged, closed his eyes, and calmed his mind to feel the new battle robe. This was a new divine object created with the clear sky holy robe as the bone, the soul, and the seventh-tier imperial equipment as the flesh and the soul. Their fusion did not mean that they would disappear, but rather a higher level of sublimation. The two divine objects belonged to Su Yun in the first place, and even if they had fused, there would not be much of a generation gap between Su Yun and this newborn divine object. Not long after, he opened his eyes. "How is it? Do you understand this divine object?" Ling Qingyu asked. "I've tested it in my consciousness. Perhaps I still need time to understand it." Su Yun smiled. Just like when he first cultivated the limitless sword arts, this divine robe was so powerful that it shocked Su Yun. "Since we've already successfully fused, let's quickly think of a way to leave the sword world." "Yes." Su Yun nodded and stood up. He looked at the clothes on his body, and with a thought, the color of the clothes immediately became transparent. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. "It's truly a divine object. After you put it on, I can no longer feel your aura, and I can't even sense your cultivation. With this robe, there's nothing to worry about." Ling Qingyu sighed. "It's not just your aura. It can also create a fake cultivation realm, causing others to misunderstand your cultivation realm." Su Yun smiled. "Is that so? Su Yun, you haven't given it a name yet. Now that it's a brand new magic treasure, you have to give a new name. Furthermore, the clear sky holy robe is something that everyone is fighting for, so this name is no longer suitable." Su Yun thought for a moment. This item is a fusion of the seventh-tier imperial equipment and the clear sky holy robe. Since that's the case, let's call it the imperial battle robe. "Yes." "Qingyu, I don't have much profound strength on me right now. This iron ground contains an unimaginable amount of profound strength. I want to take a piece and leave, and use it to recover my profound qi." "That's difficult." Ling Qingyu shook her head. "The iron on the ground is extremely hard. It's impossible for you to separate it, and it's impossible for you to dig a piece out. It's a hole." Su Yun took out his death sword and slashed at the ground. Clang! The death sword's body trembled violently. Sparks flew in all directions, and energy rippled in the air. However, not a single sword mark could be seen where it struck. "Looks like it's as you said. What do you plan to do now?" Ling Qingyu asked. "With the imperial battle robe, the aura inside the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain is no longer a threat to me. I have enough time to dig a tunnel out of the mountain and leave, but before that, I need to recover some profound qi," Su Yun said, then turned and rushed out of the sword sheath. Ling Qingyu stood in place. She did not follow, and only watched him leave from afar. Su Yun left the sword sheath and landed at the side of the sword sheath. At the moment, the surface of the limitless sword sheath was completely covered in a layer of dark green dust. There were obvious cracks in the middle of the sword sheath, and the sword qi and evil qi in the air were rushing towards the cracks, with the intention of tearing the sword sheath apart. When Su Yun appeared, the imperial battle robe released its divine power, purifying the sword qi and evil qi around his body. A vacuum immediately appeared around Su Yun, and the range of purification was several times larger than the clear sky holy robe. After isolating the sword qi and evil qi, the limitless sword sheath was once again worn on Su Yun's waist, and the crack on it also started to slowly repair itself. This kind of treasure was a world. How could it be easily destroyed? After keeping the limitless sword sheath, Su Yun immediately sat down cross-legged and started to meditate. Bang! Suddenly, a loud sound rang out, and the mountain shook again. The side of the cave wall suddenly split open, and a huge rock rolled over. Su Yun did not care about it. The big rock fell down, and when it approached Su Yun, a circle of profound strength appeared on the surface of his body and directly tore the big rock into pieces. The big rock shattered into pieces and splashed in all directions. But this was not the end. The mountain shook more and more more rocks fell down. The corpses around were buried by the rocks, and the corpses on the walls and the corpses that were sealed by the walls also rolled down. From the looks of it, It seemed like the heavenly passage was about to collapse. Chapter 732. To Su Yun, the collapse of the cave was not a good thing. Once this place collapsed, the entire Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain would be destroyed. What made him extremely curious was that the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain was such a hard mountain that it would be difficult to easily attack it. How could the cracks here be so serious? And it looked like it was about to collapse. Su Yun sat down cross-legged, closed his eyes, activated the profound strength, and activated the battle robe on his body. A bit of light shot out from his body and shot towards the mountain wall. It penetrated through the layers of rocks and shot out of the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain, floating outside the mountain. This was the release of the divine power of the Imperial Battle Robe. Of course, this kind of external divine power was not used to deal with Spirit Cultivator, but to monitor. The divine power did not have much use in the first place, and was only controlled by Su Yun. But if he placed his own soul on top of the divine power, he would be able to investigate in all directions, as if his primordial spirit had left his body. The divine power carried the power of the soul and rushed out of the mountain. Just as he left, he heard waves of furious roars exploding. Su Yun looked up. He saw a black mass of people crazily attacking the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain from all directions. At this moment, they were in a mess and were in an abnormally chaotic state. Without a unified order, without a unified slogan, everyone randomly used their profound skill. Each and every one of them swung their swords in a terrifying manner, as though they were going to tear apart the world, and the entire Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain had long since been enveloped by sword chi. At this moment, the mountain was a size smaller than before, and its surface was filled with potholes. Furthermore, there were several large cracks on the top of the mountain, as if the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain was about to split into several pieces. Seeing this scene, Su Yun's heart became heavy. He looked around, and his heart became heavier and heavier. There were so many Spirit Cultivator present that it was impossible to count them. They covered the sky and covered the sun. How many people were there in the sword world? Su Yun did not know. And here, there were probably close to 1 million Spirit Cultivator-s. Everyone surrounded the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain so tightly that not even a fly could fly in. At this moment, the vast majority of these people were attacking the mountain. If the Supreme Expert and the other Spirit Cultivator-s had attacked to force Su Yun out, then now, it was not as simple as forcing him out. Su Yun was sure that they were planning to destroy the mountain, completely raze the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain to the ground, then drag Su Yun out and seize the clear sky holy robe. This number of Spirit Cultivator was no longer something that the evil aura on the mountain could isolate. With so many Spirit Cultivator-s, if it was Su Yun, he would not use such a method to force them. At this moment, there was no need at all. Directly destroying the mountain would be even faster and more effective. Releasing the terrifying chi on the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain and completely removing it from the sword world. Wouldn't that be more efficient than other methods? In the past, they would not do this because they did not have enough ability. Now that Spirit Cultivator-s from all over the sword world were gathered here, what else could they not do? The whistling sword chi surged. Some of the void was shattered by the sword chi, revealing pitch-black cracks. Quite a few sword chis collided with each other, causing a violent explosion. The Spirit Cultivator who were close to the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain were affected and were knocked into a daze. The scene was chaotic. There were too many people and too many things to do, so there was quite a bit of friction between people. However, once there was a conflict, Supreme Expert would stand out to stop it. The Supreme Expert-s were worried about the clear sky holy robe, so they naturally wouldn't let them mess around here. It was just that the Supreme Expert-s had their own plans, and the Great Powers also had their own plans. The situation here was not something that a single person could decide. The Supreme Expert-s were on guard against the Great Powers with a large number of people, and the Great Powers were also on guard against the powerful Spirit Cultivator-s at all times. Right now, the clear sky holy robe had yet to appear, and it had already caused everyone to be anxious and suspicious of each other. If the Saint Robe appeared, it was unknown what would happen when facing these millions of warlike Spirit Cultivator. Of course, there was one thing that he knew. Once the Thousand Cloud Soar Mountain was destroyed, Su Yun would probably be blasted to the point that not even dregs would be left. With close to 1,000,000 spirit cultivator-s, even the clear sky holy robe would not be able to protect him. Su Yun retracted his gaze and turned to the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain below. At this moment, the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain was already in a miserable state. Every second, it was enduring at least 100,000 sword chi attacks. The surface of the mountain was completely blasted into powder. Dust filled the sky. The mountain was getting smaller and smaller, and the rotten corpses inside the mountain were gradually exposed. Judging from the frequency of the attacks, in 14 hours, the cave that Su Yun was in would be blown up by the spirit cultivator. The entire Thousand Cloud Soar Mountain would completely disappear in 20 hours. As an ancient battlefield, the burial ground of the spirit sage, the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain had absorbed a large amount of spirit cultivators' spirit energy and the energy within their corpses, causing the mountain to be different from the other mountains. It was abnormally hard, but today it would also become the dust of history and completely disappear. Su Yun retracted his divine soul and returned to the paradise. The situation outside was so grim that plans could not keep up with changes. It was simply unrealistic to think of digging a path to escape. Su Yun, what do we do now? I think this place of yours is about to collapse. Once you are buried by the falling rocks, it will be inconvenient for you to move, and it will be even easier for you to be captured by the spirit cultivator outside. Ling Qingyu's voice came out. The stones here were very heavy. Su Yun stood up, thought for a moment, then suddenly leaped up, jumped up, and rushed towards the tunnel. Ling Qingyu was startled. She wanted to say something, but stopped, and only nervously looked at the situation outside through the sword sheath. After entering the tunnel and walking forward for a short while, he saw the scenery outside. The tunnel had been blasted open, and gravel filled the tunnel. The dust was extremely dense. Su Yun slashed open the stone in front of him, jumped out of the tunnel, and landed on the mountainside. The moment he appeared, he was met with an earth-shattering sword chi. Seeing this, Ling Qingyu was a little shocked. Why did Su Yun come out? What was he going to do? He couldn't be. Was he going to charge head-on? Thinking about it, Ling Qingyu broke out in cold sweat. There were so many spirit cultivator outside, causing her scalp to go numb, unless it was an army formed by spirit cultivator or a super sect in the myriad heavens realm. Where else could gather so many spirit cultivator? Charge head-on. Of course, Su Yun would not be so stupid. He did not dare to be arrogant. Just because he had fused with the imperial battle robe, he was not invincible. Because of the clear sky holy robe, they had gathered together, and if they were to sneak into the crowd, they would be able to easily leave. The imperial battle robe could conceal one's own chi and could even tamper with one's cultivation, making it difficult for others to detect one's true strength. This gave Su Yun a glimmer of hope. He took a deep breath, stared in the direction of Jian Shi, held his breath, leaped up, and rushed out. Su Yun, you are planning to charge forward? Ling Qingyu, who was inside the sword sheath, noticed Su Yun's movements and was so scared that her entire body was trembling. One person to attack nearly 1,000,000 people? This was courting death. The sword chi was like raindrops, continuously smashing towards the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain. Pairs of eyes stared at the top of the mountain, watching as the mountain was slowly ground away. What's that? Suddenly, someone cried out in alarm. The spirit cultivator at the side all raised their heads to look, only to see a thin figure rushing out from the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain that was covered in thick smoke and dust. This person charged towards the sword chi that filled the sky. The sword chi looked ferocious, but when they approached him, they seemed to have collided with a black hole in the void and disappeared. Who is this person? To be able to withstand such a ferocious attack and advance. Just how strong is his cultivation? That's not right. It's not that his cultivation is strong. It's that his magic treasure is strong. He is the one who sees the clear sky holy robe. What? This is the person. He didn't hide in the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain and actually ran out. Is he courting death? Or do you think that the clear sky holy robe can give him invincibility? Back then, When the clear sky holy robe was obtained by the mighty Sword Valley Lord, the mighty Sword Valley was powerful, and with a holy robe to rely on, no one in the entire sword world dared to plot against it. But this guy is only one person, yet he is so arrogant. From the looks of it, is he trying to break out of the encirclement? He's simply courting death. With that, the spirit cultivator immediately gathered their firepower and attacked the incoming figure. When the spirit cultivator in other places received the news, their hair immediately stood on end. All of them rushed towards the place where the figure had appeared as if they had gone mad. Everyone's goal was the clear sky holy robe. Now that the target had appeared, how could they obediently surround it? For a time, a hole appeared in the impenetrable thousand-cloud sword mountain. The people on the other side of the mountain immediately ran towards the direction of Jianxi, causing the entire scene to become even more chaotic. However, after the crowd attacked the figure for a while, the figure suddenly exploded. Dead? Everyone's hearts skipped a beat. Immediately, someone ignored the corrosion of the sword chi and the evil chi and approached the thousand-cloud sword mountain, rushing towards the place where the figure had fallen. They urged the profound chi and tried their best to resist, but before they could even get close, a large amount of sword chi shot out from behind them, striking towards the spirit cultivator who had rushed to the front. How could these people defend against so many attacks? He died immediately. Damn it! The clear sky holy robe belongs to our sword-slaying hall. Whoever dares to plot against it will be killed. Who do you think your sword-slaying hall is? You dare to think about the clear sky holy robe? Scram! You're courting death. Waves of angry roars erupted. These spirit cultivator who heard the wind and rain had long lost their rationality for the sake of the magic treasure. And this time, they had gone completely crazy. For the sake of the clear sky holy robe, they had directly fought, and the order that the supreme expert and the great powers had managed to maintain with great difficulty was instantly thrown into chaos. When a spirit cultivator finally reached the place where the figure had fallen, he only saw a group of broken stones that were carved with lotus patterns. Chapter 733. Although there were a lot of spirit cultivator they were just a motley crew. Most of them were blinded by benefits and schemed against each other, so it was easy to break them down. Create chaos. This was the only way for Su Yun to break out of the encirclement, and the source of the chaos was to use the clear sky holy robe to replace it. Using the thousand-cloud sword mountain boulder as a carrier, Su Yun took out one of the two saints and wrapped it up. He separated a portion of the god power from the imperial battle robe and used the lotus star sword art to seal it. Then he placed it on the saint's corpse and used his chi to attack the spirit cultivator outside. The divine power of the imperial battle robe temporarily protected his body. In addition to the toughness of his physical body and the hardness of the thousand-cloud sword mountain, it allowed him to temporarily fly away from the dense sword chi without his body being destroyed. From afar, he even thought that Su Yun had appeared. Everyone was gathered in Jianxi's direction, while Su Yun immediately turned and fled in the opposite direction. There were a large number of spirit cultivator here. Su Yun did not dare guarantee that Jianxi was safe. He did not know if he was leaving the sword world now, so he decided to first get rid of these people and think of a way to leave. The imperial battle robe could conceal his chi and tamper with his cultivation, so leaving was extremely easy. Su Yun stuck close to the ground and quickly flew forward, activating the invisibility effect. The imperial battle robe perfectly fused with the earth, adding on the concealment of his aura. Ordinary people did not know that he had already quietly left the thousand-cloud sword mountain. No one noticed that Su Yun was about to leave. However, before he could run for long, the pale sky suddenly flashed with a green light, and then the entire sky turned dark green. Su Yun frowned and secretly pulled out the death sword. Was he discovered in the end? But how could it be so fast? With him as the center, a circle of green light rose up around him. These lines quickly linked together, and in less than a breath, they formed a green cage. Seeing that, Su Yun did not stop and continued to rush forward. The moment the imperial battle robe approached the cage, it was immediately purified by the divine power released by the battle robe. I didn't expect you to break the forbidden technique. Not bad. That's right, the clear sky holy robe is indeed a treasure. It's better to leave something like this to me. A voice came out. Following that, a sharp light aura shot out, straight towards Su Yun's face. What a fast speed, what a ferocious sword technique. But what was the use of this? Su Yun ignored him and immediately escaped. The divine power of the imperial battle robe was not something he could break by himself. After a few consecutive slashes, Su Yun acted as if nothing had happened, but at this time, he had already run far away. Seeing that he could not hold Su Yun back, the man stopped his attack, but he did not give up. He took out a wooden box and opened it. A fiery red light shot into the sky and exploded like fireworks. It scattered into tens of thousands of slender red lights, straight down to the crowd below. These rays of light selectively landed on the dense group of people below, smashing onto the top of the spirit cultivator's head. These people who were struck by the red light immediately exploded with red light. The spirit cultivator threw the box towards Su Yun. In an instant, the box exploded, and at the same time, the person who was hit by the red light instantly moved, and in an instant appeared beside Su Yun, completely surrounding him. A group teleportation treasure? Su Yun frowned and stopped in his tracks. Tens of thousands of spirit cultivator S appeared in the surroundings, and all of them were above the sky spirit master. How could it not be shocking? The clear sky holy robe is indeed powerful, but its divine power is limited. You're only one person, and it is impossible for you to charge out of the encirclement of tens of thousands of people. So you should give up on this foolish idea of escaping. The man walked over step by step with a red and green sword in his hand. Su Yun turned around and looked at the person who walked over, only to see that he was dressed in red, with a dark green edge and a long crown on his head. He was extremely handsome. How did you know I was running away from here? Su Yun asked. Very simple. Sense magic treasure. The man smiled. Although your aura is completely gone, I've already sensed your every move. You created a fake substitute. You must have attracted everyone's attention, and then escaped in the opposite direction. So that's how it is. Although he had shielded his aura, Su Yun was still a real person. Relying on this high-level method of sensing the target's location, he was still able to capture Su Yun's general location. Actually, Su Yun also had one of these magic treasures, and that was the heavenly seeking treasure bell. The sudden appearance of these tens of thousands of people attracted many other spirit cultivators. Everyone realized that the thing that was destroyed was just a puppet, and they all came to their senses. As a result, a large number of spirit cultivators rushed over again, and a few of them had extremely terrifying auras that were close to the spirit sage S, and also rushed over. From one end of the mountain to the other, it was only a matter of an instant for them. Several rays of light flashed in the crowd. Following that, a few people suddenly appeared in front of Su Yun. The moment these people appeared, the surrounding spirit cultivators that were summoned by the man were all pushed back. Yi, who is ranked first on the heroic sword list, I never thought that you would actually rush here from the border of swords for the clear sky holy robe. This is truly unexpected. An old voice rang out, and an old man holding an iron walking stick walked out step by step. The old man had chicken skin and crane hair. He had the demeanor of an immortal, but his aura was strong and his cultivation was unfathomable. When the surrounding people saw him, their eyes revealed looks of fear at the same time. Oh, so it's Senior Bloodsword. Senior's arrival here has truly surprised this junior. Junior greets Senior here. Yi cupped his fists and said in a neutral tone. The Bloodsword elder looked at him, but did not say anything. Instead, a woman beside him interjected. Everyone is here for the clear sky holy robe, but there is only one such divine object, and it can only satisfy one person. There are so many experts here, I'm afraid we will have to fight for this divine object. This woman was also not simple. She wore dark blue clothes, had short hair, and her skin was the color of wheat. She held two swords in her hands, one red and one blue. Her aura was sharp and full of heroic spirit. Lord Sword Blue-Robed is right. Everyone wants treasures, so fighting is inevitable. I believe that no one wants to return empty-handed. Since that's the case, Mad Lion will give everyone a heads up. That's right, Lord Sword Blue-Robed, Yi said coldly. The clear sky holy robe, I am determined to obtain it. If anyone dares to stop me, my sword will be merciless. Your tone is quite big. However, tone does not represent strength. If you want to obtain the clear sky holy robe, you are still too young. Another voice floated out. Following that, a young master dressed in a white robe, holding a paper fan, suddenly appeared in front of Su Yun. Without saying a word, he directly slashed towards Su Yun, and a large number of thin swords flew out from every bone of the paper fan, piercing towards Su Yun like needles. However, the moment these thin swords got close to Su Yun, they were purified by the divine power. Hearing the discussions of these people, Su Yun was truly furious. Before they even started fighting, these people were already discussing how to split him up. People all had a temper. Although this was not the time to be impulsive, it did not mean that Su Yun should swallow his anger. He stared at young Master Paper Fan who wanted to sneak attack him, and suddenly extended his hand to grab his neck. The young master was startled. He kept the paper fan in his hand, and the fan extended on its own, transforming into a sharp sword, wanting to pierce through Su Yun's heart. But when the sword tip approached Su Yun, it was still broken by the profound strength. The Imperial Battle Robe was not the Clear Sky Holy Robe. It had fused with the 7th-tier Imperial equipment. So even if it was something substantial, Su Yun could still use the profound strength to block it. Are you an idiot? Su Yun pinched the young master's neck and said coldly, These people are clearly close to me, but they are not in a hurry to make a move. Don't you know the reason? That is because they all know that I have the Clear Sky Holy Robe on me. I have the divine power to protect me. I have the divine power. You all cannot harm a single hair on my body. Only when the divine power dissipates can you all seize the Clear Sky Holy Robe. You don't understand? As the sound of his voice faded, several sharp swords shot out from the sword sheath and pierced through the man's body. The young master's eyes widened as he twitched. He died, and his soul flew into the sky. Su Yun raised his sword and used the death sword to devour his soul. Oh! Seeing that, Yi Kwangshe, Blood Sword Elder, Sword Blue Robe, and the others all focused their gazes on Su Yun. The evil aura is very strong, and the devil chi is also very strong. You are from the true devil realm, right? The Blood Sword Elder held onto his walking stick and stared at Su Yun. However, Su Yun did not reply him, but quietly looked around, only to see that more and more people were approaching. If this continued, he would be surrounded. Immediately, he turned around and rushed forward. With his move, the surrounding spirit cultivator immediately became excited and chased after him. Go! Ha! At a time like this, you still think you can leave? Naive. Yi Kwangshe laughed coldly, waved his hand and shouted, Chase after him. Yes, sir. Yi Kwangshe's subordinates all responded. Su Yun activated his divine power. No one could stop him. He swept through everything and rushed out of the crowd. But now that everyone saw Su Yun, they naturally would not hold back. In a few breaths of time, hundreds of thousands of sword chi-s smashed towards him, instantly engulfing him, and the surrounding spirit cultivator-s were also affected. They were affected by the sword chi and immediately died. Very few people were spared. But even so, those people did not stop attacking Su Yun. Kill. Continue to kill. Destroy his divine power. The Clear Sky Holy Robe will lose its divine power. This person will definitely die. At that time, the Clear Sky Holy Robe will belong to us. The Blood Sword Elder shouted in a low voice. However, none of these supreme experts made a move and only followed Su Yun. With his roar, the people became even more restless. Hearing that, the anger in Su Yun's heart exploded. Without saying a word, he turned his head to look at the black mass of people behind him. Some of them had already circled around, planning to intercept him. He believed that in a short while, he would be completely surrounded by these people, and it would be difficult for him to escape. Since that was the case, there was no need to be merciful. Why should a greedy person stay? Su Yun took a deep breath. His body that was running forward suddenly stopped. His feet fiercely stomped on the ground. He shot backwards like an arrow, and actually directly crashed into the dense group of spirit cultivators that were like locusts, running in the opposite direction. The blood-sword elder, Equangshire, and the others were all puzzled. Relying on the divine power of the battle robe, Su Yun easily squeezed through the crowd and landed in the middle of the spirit cultivator. In all directions, in the sky and on the ground, there were spirit cultivator. They seemed to have formed a meatball, and Su Yun was in the middle of the meatball. At this moment, would he still be able to escape? Clang, 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 clang. The moment he crashed into the crowd, millions of war swords aimed at him from all directions. Su Yun took a deep breath and slowly closed his eyes. Chapter 734. Are you going to give up? Looking at Su Yun, who had crashed into the crowd, Equangshire and Jianlan looked at each other, their eyes filled with confusion, and then rushed towards the crowd. At that moment, all the spirit cultivators present had already locked onto Su Yun. Everyone's profound chi was in an uproar. The sword tip was trembling. The Wonglung sound resonated through the clouds. I believe that no one present has ever seen such a grand scene like today. 1,000,000 spirit cultivator. 1,000,000 war swords. The target was only one person, and the killing intent was only one person. At this moment, even the great firmament golden immortal would have fallen. However, to be able to be killed by nearly 1,000,000 spirit cultivators, even if he died, it would be a worthy death. Equangshire held on to his sword tightly and quietly approached. Jianlan and the Bloodsword Elder did not hesitate. They only saw the cane in the Bloodsword Elder's hand shake. The surface of the cane immediately split open, transforming into a pitch-black heavy sword. Everyone was waiting. It seemed like they were waiting for Su Yun to die, and then they would start to snatch the clear sky holy robe. Now, that Su Yun was not dead. These people were temporarily working together. Once Su Yun fell, this place would become a battlefield even larger than the 1,000-cloud Sword Mountain, and countless spirit cultivator would be buried here, and the battle for the clear sky holy robe would shock the entire myriad heavens realm. Lady Jian, Equangshire suddenly approached Jianlan and called out in a low voice. Jianlan turned his head and looked at him vigilantly. He did not say a word, but he gripped the sword in his hand even tighter. Lady Jian, please don't be nervous. I have no ill intentions towards you. I just want to tell you, the situation here is so complicated. There are so many experts. There's only one clear sky holy robe. We actually do not have a high chance of obtaining it by ourselves. Why don't we join forces and snatch it together? Equangshire said in a low voice. After we take the clear sky holy robe and leave this place, we will find another time to have a fair duel. The winner will obtain the clear sky holy robe. How about it? Hearing that, the sword blue robe's tensed face relaxed a little, and he secretly looked around. Now that the situation was in chaos, to be honest, even people stronger than her could not guarantee that they would be able to obtain the clear sky holy robe. The reason why everyone was gathered here was because they were hoping to get lucky. All right, I can cooperate with you. Jianlan nodded. Not to mention that the two of them had a higher chance of obtaining the clear sky holy robe. At least their ability to protect themselves would be stronger. Very good. Since that's the case, then we must trust each other. Later, I will go get the clear sky holy robe, and you'll cover my retreat. Is that all right? Why don't I go get the clear sky holy robe and you cover me? Hey, it's all the same. If you don't trust me, you can go and get it. Equangshire laughed. Blue Cloak did not say anything. He raised his sword and moved forward. Everyone's line of sight could already see Su Yun floating in the air. The 3 layers of people surrounded him so tightly that not even a drop of water could leak out. Their swords were already glowing, and in the next breath, an uncountable amount of sword chi would strike at him. Even if they did not kill him, they would at least be able to destroy the clear sky holy robe's divine power. Without the clear sky holy robe, Su Yun wouldn't even be able to hold on for a single breath. An unprecedented sword pressure. A peerlessly terrifying sword chi. At this moment, it was as if the entire sword world was trembling. Hualalala, the swords pointed to the sky. A million spirit cultivators unleashed their strongest sword moves at the same time, and a million sky spirit master existences unleashed their attacks at the same time. This kind of scene could be said to be a rare occurrence in 10,000 years. And today, right next to the ancient battlefield, Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain, a magnificent scene was about to unfold. Not to mention the people watching. Even those who were preparing to attack Su Yun felt their hearts surging. To be able to witness such a grand and majestic scene, how exciting would it be? Go to hell. In the distance, the mighty Sword Valley Lord quietly looked at Su Yun, who was surrounded by the crowd, the corner of his mouth raised into a sinister smile. No one would survive such an attack. Absolutely not. Today's scene would be recorded in the annals of history. Bang! A terrifying sword chi surged out from the sword edge of a spirit cultivator's hand, like a meteor flying straight like a shuttle. This was like a spark that had fallen into dry firewood, igniting the entire scene. After he launched his attack, the people beside him immediately launched their attacks as well. Bang! 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 The other swords that were already fully charged also spat out sword chi. Cold light flashed one after another. Sharp blades danced in the air, like a heavenly maiden scattering flowers, like a group of stars falling. All of the attacks were directed towards one target, one direction. The void was shaken. The earth split open. The sky was extremely dark. The clouds dissipated, and the wind stopped. However, Su Yun, who was standing in the middle, did not panic at all. He held onto the death sword with one hand and closed his eyes, as if all of this had nothing to do with him. This calmness was admirable. However, the moment the first sword chi attacked, for illusions suddenly rose around his body. It was the illusion of the holy spirit beast. Azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, black tortoise. The moment the illusions of the four holy beasts appeared, they immediately fused and digested, forming a rainbow shield that wrapped around Su Yun tightly. What is this? When the people in the distance saw this, they were all puzzled. When the first sword chi struck Su Yun's body, the rainbow-colored shield made a clang sound and immediately reflected the sword chi back, and the reflected sword chi was accompanied by a rainbow-colored light, which was especially intense. The spirit cultivator was startled. He did not even have the time to react before his body was pierced by the rainbow-colored sword chi, causing his entire body to explode. This power was at least 7 to 8 times more ferocious than his sword chi. One person was killed by the backlash, and there was a second and third person. All of the reflected sword chi were reflected back when they struck the rainbow shield, and the reflected sword chi received an extremely terrifying amplification. The surface of the reflected sword chi was covered with a rainbow-colored light and directly attacked the owner of the shield. This what's going on? In the distance, Yi Guangshi, Blood Sword Elder, and the others were all shocked. Puff, 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 puff. The body of the person who was pierced by the rainbow-colored sword chi immediately exploded. No matter how many attacks there were, the strange shield would reflect the same amount of attacks. The amount of sword chi that was reflected was more than a few 100,000. When those people who were preparing to release sword chi at Su Yun saw this scene, they were so scared that their faces turned white and quickly stopped. However, with Su Yun as the center, circles of blood mist burst out from his surroundings. Countless corpses and blood splattered in the air. Dazzling flowers of blood bloomed, dyeing the entire world red. These people felt as if they had fallen into a world of blood and flesh. The entire world had changed, and a terrifying aura and oppressive atmosphere had invaded the world with a due sound. This move, who knew how many spirit cultivators had died? A rain of blood fell from the sky. Those who did not have the time to attack Su Yun were stunned. They stared blankly at that person, at the person who was tightly wrapped in the rainbow light. These people's hearts had long been filled with fear and shock. This scene, which was like an Azura hell, would leave an indelible shadow in the hearts of many people. Cultivators cultivated the body, the Tao, and the world, but on the slow path of cultivation, they had never seen the scene of hundreds of thousands of spirit cultivators dying at the same time. This kind of thing only existed in the great war of gods and devils of the ancient era. This is impossible. Impossible. The head of the mighty Sword Valley stared blankly at the mushroom cloud formed by the blood mist in the distance. It was as if he had lost all of his soul. He stared blankly, his old face filled with shock. Waves of whimpering sounds resounded in the sky. It was the overflowing souls of the dead spirit cultivator. They gathered in the air and tried their best to make a sound. This kind of wrongful death was something they could not accept. Such a method, it simply surpasses a true divine ability. Sword Blue Robe muttered, "How could this be? This was the power of the clear sky, holy robe? No. If the clear sky, holy robe has such power, how could it be lost by the mighty Sword Valley? Who the hell is this guy? Who the hell is he?" Ah! Waves of hoarse and terrified cries rang out. The people were completely crazy, trembling, and afraid. They were completely scared out of their wits. This attack had killed nearly 300,000 people. As for the remaining existences, they were either severely injured or crippled. They had completely lost their fighting strength. Such an incomparable attack was rarely seen in the world. Some of the impatient sects were completely crippled by this move. Even a perfected golden immortal was only SOSO. Tick-tick-tock, blood mixed with flesh and blood fell from the sky onto the ice-cold ground. The densely packed crowd loosened up a lot, and everyone stared at the person in the center like a statue. At that moment, who would dare to make a move against Su Yun? The entire world fell silent. The wind stopped, the clouds dispersed, and the sun and moon lost their light. The strange scene was like a piece of red-hot iron burning people's hearts. This scene was unforgettable. Su Yun turned around and stared at the people around him. His blood-red eyes were filled with killing intent, and the devil blood in his body was ignited by the blood around him. It was boiling and uneasy, and at this moment, he actually had an inexplicable desire to kill, to destroy more lives. Su Yun. Right at this moment, an anxious and terrified voice suddenly sounded out from within the sword sheath. Su Yun regained his senses and asked, "What's wrong? You just killed so many people." Ling Qingyu's voice was filled with anxiety. "If they want the clear sky, holy robe, and want my life, they can only kill me," Su Yun said coldly. At that moment, his demonic nature had been completely lured out, and he did not have much pity in his heart. But with so many people dying in one go, the ferocious aura, the blood chi, and the evil aura have all exploded. The evil sword has made a move. Ling Qingyu shouted, her voice filled with fear. "Evil sword? What evil sword?" Su Yun frowned. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something, and his face changed. Clang! Just then, a ray of light flashed out of the limitless sword sheath. Following that, a sword image, with the limitless sword sheath as the source, rushed out of the sword sheath, expanding infinitely, connecting to the sky, and with Su Yun as the center, it quickly spun around. Clang! The light spun once, then quickly returned into the sword sheath and disappeared. Following that, Su Yun's heart was filled with an indescribable sense of fear, astonishment, and trembling. The fanatical demonic nature in his body suddenly disappeared, and he suddenly calmed down. He looked around at the spirit cultivator, only to find that they were all frozen. And then, poochie, 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 all the spirit cultivators' bodies shattered like broken glass. Regardless of whether it was Yi Kuangshi, who was ranked first on the heroic sword list, the Blood Sword Elder, the Blue Clothed Sword, the Mighty Sword Valley Lord, all of their bodies were chopped into pieces. Their souls did not exist. The mountains turned into granules. The earth instantly shattered, turning into an abyss. The sky distorted, and the sun and moon dimmed. In an instant, the million spirit cultivator-s were cleared out. Millions of corpses. Chapter 735. Clang. Su Yun slowly placed the death sword back into the sword sheath, opened his blood-red eyes, and looked around. The place that had been bustling with noise and bustle just a moment ago was now completely empty. It was deathly silent. No mountains, no forests, no flowers, no grass. Even the earth had shattered, leaving behind only a pitch-black abyss. It was as if this place had been dug away. Su Yun floated in the air, his heart beating very slowly. He seemed to have thought of something, and immediately took out his sword and flew high into the sky. He only stopped when he was nearly 10,000 meters in the air. However, the scene before him completely shocked him. The area within 1,000 miles had completely turned into an abyss. At a glance, there was nothing. All the people, mountains, rivers, and trees had been completely emptied. There was no longer a single person to be seen, nor any trace of life. Even dust. It was all gone. Is this the power of the evil sword? Su Yun opened his huge eyes and muttered, "Not bad. I was lucky this time. The seal on the evil sword has only loosened a little. It's not a big deal. If not, the entire sword world would have died under your sword." Ling Qingyu flew out from the sword sheath and said with lingering fear. Her expression still revealed a look of fear, and it seemed that even in the sword world, she was still extremely afraid. "Qingyu, so you know about the evil sword as well?" Su Yun turned his head and said, "I've lived in the world of the sword sheath for so long. How can I not know anything about this evil sword? This time, what's going on? Why did the evil sword appear?" Su Yun asked solemnly. Could it be that the divine sword in the sword sheath can no longer suppress it? Once the evil sword appeared, the 10,000 worlds would be in danger. I'm not sure, but now that the evil sword has disappeared from the sword sheath, I can't feel its existence anymore. Previously, you used the Imperial Battle Robe to kill so many spirit cultivator-s, and in an instant, the ruthlessness invaded your entire body and rushed straight to the sword sheath. The evil sword was tempted, and the seal loosened, which is why this scene happened. This time, it was really dangerous. If the power of the evil sword overflowed a little more, I'm afraid even you would not be able to escape the fate of being killed. Su Yun, you have obtained the divine object Imperial Battle Robe, so you should be careful when using it in the future. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Ling Qingyu said worriedly. I understand. Su Yun nodded his head and said, after this matter is over, we must immediately inform Sword Ancestor about the appearance of the evil sword. He should know more about it than us. That's right, the Sword Ancestor should have a way to deal with it. Qingyu, we can't stay here for long. Quickly leave the sword world. Yes. Within Beiyang. Ever since the Black Fish Chamber of Commerce was eliminated and He Yu was killed, the entire Beiyang had fallen into an atmosphere of danger. The young master of the Wei Long Temple had died miserably in the Beiyang, but the Wei Long Temple did not care at all. It was enough to show how powerful the 100 Meetings Alliance leader was. However, although Su Yun did not know how to do business, he had chosen the right person. After Huairou Muyu took charge of the Beiyang, the market in the Beiyang immediately became prosperous. After she promoted a series of pacifying policies, she greatly reduced the amount of taxes that the various Chamber of Commerce had to pay to the 100 Meetings Alliance and increased the profits of the various Chamber of Commerce by several times, causing Huairou Muyu to gain a lot of fame in a very short period of time. Of course, because of this, the 100 Meetings Alliance did not have much profit to make. All of the profits were divided up by the other Chamber of Commerce, and Huairou Muyu's only income was the Huairou Chamber of Commerce that she managed. She understood that she had just succeeded. Her foundation was not stable, and her reputation was not heavy. If she were to wantonly exploit the profits the moment she came to power, it would only cause people to talk behind her back, and the people would not be convinced. Although Su Yun's martial power was enough to suppress the Beiyang, using martial power to obtain the hearts of the people was a potential threat. Huairou Muyu was well aware of this point, so she decided to boil the frog in warm water. First, give them the sweetness, then slowly reduce their profits, establish their prestige, and finally control them. This kind of thing had to be done slowly. Currently, Huayro Muyu was not lacking in money, so he was not in a hurry to use the 100 Meetings Alliance to benefit himself. After Huayro Muyu finished with the matters of the Chamber of Commerce, she returned to her own cultivation residence. Of course, she did not build her own mansion, but lived with Hu Qianmei in the house that Su Yun had bought back then. The house occupied a huge area and was extremely close to the Huayro Chamber of Commerce, so Hu Qianmei alone was enough. Huayro Muyu was not willing to spend a lot of effort to build another mansion, so he only greeted Hu Qianmei and stayed in. After entering the mansion, Huayro Muyu walked towards his bedroom, planning to rest for a while before sitting cross-legged to cultivate. When the servant at the door saw Huayro Muyu walking over, she immediately went over to support her. However, before he could enter the bedroom, he heard a call from outside. "Miss, come in." Huayro Muyu stopped and turned. A servant quickly ran in and knelt in front of him. "What happened?" Huayro Muyu asked softly. "Reporting to Miss, the people from the main house have already entered Beiyang. I believe they will enter the main city in the near future." The servant said respectfully. "Send some people to pick them up." Huayro Muyu said indifferently. "Although I have taken over Beiyang, Beiyang is still not peaceful. The cultivation of the people who came from the Gathering Heart realm cannot compare to the people of Beiyang. I hope nothing will happen to them. This lowly one will immediately make the arrangements." "All right, Miss. It is reported that the Feng clan in the Gathering Heart realm also plans to enter Beiyang region. They have specially written a letter begging Miss to allow them to enter." Just then, the servant took out a piece of paper from his bosom and handed it over to Huayro Muyu. Huayro Muyu opened it and took a few glances, her eyebrows slightly moving. "Feng clan? Is this the Feng clan from Sky Central City? Feng Hen's family?" "That's right. They specially sent over 900 precious pills, 70 million profound coins, 15 top-quality magic treasure, countless cultivation jades, and interest gold. They're specially made as gifts for Mississippi," the servant said. "At the moment, these things are outside the pass and have not entered Beiyang. If Miss is not willing to accept them, this lowly one will order them to immediately return." "There's no need to return." Huayro Muyu rubbed her exquisite chin. She thought for a moment, then said, "Send someone to invite the Feng clan to stay in Beiyang, arrange for their main family to stay in the main city, and allocate a city for the branch family of the Feng clan to stay. Do you understand?" Allocate a city? The servant was obviously surprised. Dividing a city was equivalent to dividing a large market. The various Chamber of Commerce in the Beiyang were all squeezed into a city, and no one could enjoy a city alone. How could the Feng clan receive such treatment? "You don't know." Huayro Muyu shook her head lightly. "Feng clan's young master Feng Lingsheng has a close relationship with the Alliance leader. I believe that if the Alliance leader knew, he would definitely do the same. Quickly go and make the arrangements. Other than that, I will pick some good pills and magic treasure from the warehouse. You can go to the Feng clan in the name of the Alliance leader and give them to Feng Lingsheng." Hearing that, the servant immediately kowtowed. "Yes, Mississippi." With that, the servant left the room. Huayro Muyu turned and was about to enter the bedroom. However, just as she entered the room, she saw a figure sitting inside. "Miss Qianmei, why are you in my room?" Huayro Muyu said softly. "The door was open, so I came in to take a seat." Hu Qianmei casually laid on Huayro Muyu's bed, her huge tail resting on her exquisite head. Seeing that, Huayro Muyu looked at the servant beside him. The servant immediately became nervous and immediately knelt down. "Miss, this servant has been guarding the door. When did Miss who entered the room? This servant does not know either. Don't make things difficult for that servant of yours. She doesn't have much cultivation. If I want to come in, how would she know?" Hu Qianmei chuckled. "I don't plan to make things difficult for her." Huayro Muyu said indifferently, then helped her up and said softly, "You can leave first." "Yes, this servant will take her leave." The servant anxiously bowed, then carefully left. Huayro Muyu turned his gaze over. "Something's up." "No." "Then why are you here? Didn't I tell you to come and sit here?" "If Miss Hu likes this place, Muyu can change to another room. After all, this house was built for you by Su Yin." Hey, I say, Why are you so strange? This is called going to the door. Don't you understand? I came here to sit. What are you thinking about? The path of cultivation is very lonely. So lonely that there is no one to talk to, unlike you, who can at least talk for a while every day. Am I overthinking it? Huayro Miyu said indifferently. Since that's the case, then please do as you please, Miss Hu. Muyu needs to rest. If there's anything you need, just tell Xiao Chui. With that, Huayro Muyu walked to the side of the bed and lay down, activating the array formation on the bed. But before she could lie down, she was grabbed by a big hand and pressed down on the bed. A trace of doubt flashed past Huayro Muyu's eyes as he looked at Hu Qianmei. What are you doing? Nothing much. I just want to chat with you. Hu Qianmei reached out her hand and caressed her fair and tender face. A strange luster flashed past her eyes. Seeing that, Huayro Muyu's figure suddenly disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already beside the bed. Hu Qianmei's soft body directly fell onto the bed. If it was a man, it might still have some effect, but for a woman like me, the effect is too poor. Huayro Muyu said indifferently. It's because there are no men to charm. Hu Qianmei pouted and said with a depressed face, I don't know where that dead man went. He left me here alone, without any news at all. I'm worried to death, and now I'm thinking about him all the time. I don't know how he's doing right now. I don't even have the mood to cultivate. It's really annoying. You mean Su Yin? Huayro Muyu raised her eyes and looked at her. Hu Qianmei giggled and said, Speaking of which, young miss of the Huayro family, what kind of person do you think Su Yun is? Chapter 736. Su Yun. Hearing that, Huayro Muyu frowned slightly, then relaxed again. She sank into her memories, and after a while she sighed, I can't explain it clearly. It's a little mysterious, a little strange. I can't see through it. What do you feel? I don't know either. Oh, Hu Qianmei glanced at her with his black eyes. Your performance. Don't tell me you've fallen for him? How is that possible? Huayro Muyu shook his head. Although I have some entanglements with him, I, Huayro Muyu, am not a casual woman. Furthermore, he is already your dual cultivation companion. How can I ask him to be my dual cultivation companion? Hearing that, Hu Qianmei was startled for a moment, then laughed out loud. I say, little sister Muyu, your thoughts are too naive. Ha ha ha, this is the ultimate martial world. In this place, the weak are prey to the strong. If Su Yun wants you to be his dual cultivation companion, you have no way of resisting. No one will stop him. You can only say that you are unwilling, but you cannot resist. After all, the current hymn is practically covering the sky with one hand. Huayro Muyu was silent. But from the looks of it, Su Yun doesn't seem to have that intention. Hu Qianmei laughed. He's not that kind of person. Huayro Muyu followed up. It seems like you have a good impression of him. Hu Qianmei teased. Huayro Muyu thought about it. His expression was indifferent, and his tone was extremely calm. Good impression? It should be. After all, Su Yun and I have experienced life and death before. To be honest, if not for Su Yun saving us time and time again, I am afraid that we would not be talking here today. Although I do not understand Su Yun, I am trying to understand him, and try to understand what he is thinking in his heart. Of course, I'm not doing this because I like him. My starting point is just to repay him. If it wasn't for him, the Huayro family might not be where it is today. I owe him too much. However, towards him, I'm not limited to repaying him. Perhaps there are some other reasons. Other reasons? Hu Qianmei seemed to be interested. A pair of peach blossom eyes stared at Huayro Muyu. Huayro Muyu looked at her and was about to speak, but just then she heard hurried footsteps coming from outside, followed by the servant's anxious voice. Miss, it's bad. Clang. The maidservant pushed open the door and barged in, shouting, Miss, something terrible has happened. Someone's here to cause trouble. Causing trouble? Huayro Muyu frowned. Who dares to cause trouble here? No, it's not causing trouble. It seems to be causing trouble too. I don't know what those people are doing either. They suddenly flew into the city and threatened to find Miss Qianmei. And they started fighting with the experts of our Chamber of Commerce. It's in the city. Many guards have gone there. The maidservant's speech was somewhat incoherent. and her tongue was somewhat tied. But fortunately, her meaning was expressed clearly. Huai Mu Yu was naturally not indifferent. She immediately stepped out of the house. Seeing that, Hu Qianmei, who was on the bed, immediately followed. Looking for me? Who could it be? Hu Qianmei was suspicious. The other party dared to openly come to the main city of the Bei Yang 100 Meetings Alliance to cause trouble. He was definitely not an ordinary person. Huai Mu Yu and Hu Qianmei first gathered a group of Sky Spirit Master experts that were invited with a lot of money, and then quickly rushed towards the area where the trouble was. The place where the trouble was caused was actually the south gate of the main city. As they approached the south gate, they could hear the sounds of air exploding. The earth suddenly trembled, and then the ground split open. The sky darkened a bit, and a thick smell of blood blew over like a wave. Smelling the smell of blood, Hu Qianmei and Huai Mu Yu's faces changed. Everyone turned the corner of the street and saw the south gate. However, the scene at the south gate was shocking. The rogue cultivators at the south gate were fleeing in panic, and the guard of the main city were fighting with a few spirit cultivators that they had never seen before. The entire south gate had long since been destroyed, and there was a large hole in the city wall. A man wearing a huge yellow robe stood in the air with his arms crossed over his chest, staring at the people below with disdain. I am the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. Let me ask you again, who is Hu Qianmei? Su Yun, where is it? The yellow-robed man bellowed. Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. Huai Mu Yu's face changed. Some people trembled even more when they heard this. They never thought that the one who came to the main city to cause trouble was actually this supreme expert. He is the supreme expert that Su Yun said he had fought in the Sword World before. It is said that his strength has reached the Spirit Emperor level. Hu Qianmei was shocked and exclaimed softly, "Spirit Emperor." Huai Mu Yu's face turned ugly. In the entire Beiyang, how many existences at the Spirit Emperor level could there be? If such a person appeared here, it was likely that the spirit cultivator in the main city would not be able to stop him. Puffed, puffed, puffed. At this moment, several crisp sounds rang out. Huai Mu Yu and the rest anxiously raised their heads to look, only to see that the few guards had already been killed by the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign subordinates. Their corpses fell to the ground, and fresh blood flowed all over the ground. Just as their souls leaked out, they were sucked into the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign's stomach, and died. When the thugs invited by the Huairo Chamber of Commerce saw this scene, they were all shocked. Miss Hu, think of a way to quickly inform Su Yun. Let him invite the people from the True Devil sect, or directly contact the True Devil sect and see if the experts from the True Devil sect can come and help us. Otherwise, if Beiyang cannot be protected, both you and I will die. Huai Mu Yu turned his head and said calmly to Hu Qianmei, I understand. I'll do my best to hold him back. Hurry up and do it. All right. Hu Qianmei nodded and immediately turned to leave. However, just as she turned around, a mournful golden palm fiercely smashed towards her. Hu Qianmei turned pale with fright and immediately dodged to the side. When the palm landed on the ground, it directly formed a handprint on the ground. The inside of the handprint sizzled as the ground was corroded. How terrifying! If you were to be hit by this palm, you would undoubtedly die. Hu Qianmei clenched his teeth and stared at the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, only to see him speak out. Since you're here, don't leave. You guys haven't answered my question yet. Quickly tell me, who is Hu Qianmei? Where's Su Yun? If you don't say it, I'll have no choice but to massacre this city. As the sound of his voice faded, everyone's expression changed. The myriad heavens realm has its own order, and the Beiyang also has its own order. If you slaughter the Beiyang for no reason, aren't you afraid of attracting the dissatisfaction of countless supreme experts in the myriad heavens realm? Huai Mu Yu clenched her fists and said. When the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, heard this, he laughed out loud. Ha ha, girl, you are too naive. In the myriad heavens realm, martial power is supreme. Here, whoever has the biggest fist can do whatever they want. What kind of realm was the Wanhua realm? Didn't they also encounter a calamity? You were just a small Beiyang. Who would care about your life and death? Heh, Girl, if I were you, I would obediently hand over Su Yun and that Hu Qianmei. If not, Beiyang would be the second Wanhua realm. As soon as he said that, a dark yellow halo of light burst out from the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's body. The halo spread out in all directions like ripples, and in the blink of an eye, it illuminated the entire main city. All the spirit cultivator-s in the main city were attacked by the halo, and all knelt on the ground. Hu Qianmei and the rest also found it hard to hold on. Their legs started to tremble, and an urge to take the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign as their master arose in their hearts. Mental attack. Huai Romuyu's small face was extremely pale. She anxiously activated one of her protective magic treasure to block the attack. But even with the magic treasure activated, her mind was still trembling, unable to hold on. No one in the main city was a match for the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign. His arrival was like the descent of a god. Miss Huai, what should we do now? Hu Qianmei held onto the Emperor's sword. His body swayed slightly and said weakly, "Right now, we can only stall for time and wait for the arrival of True Devil Realm or Su Yun. Other than that, we have no other choice. It is impossible for us to escape. With our cultivation, it is impossible for us to escape from under his nose. Once we think of escaping, we will anger him, and at that time, our lives will be in danger. This is not easy to drag on. He is here for Big Brother, and I am here. There are a lot of people who know me. Once he finds out that I am Hu Qianmei, he will be finished." Hu Qianmei said softly. At the moment, she could be said to be the most nervous person here. Huai Romuyu naturally knew of her situation, and at the same time, Huai Romuyu did not want anything to happen to Hu Qianmei. After all, she knew the relationship between Hu Qianmei and Su Yun, and if something happened to Hu Qianmei, she did not dare imagine what would happen to Su Yun. After thinking for a while, Huai Romuyu spoke. "Senior, are you here to look for Su Yun? Otherwise what? Speaking of which, little girl, I see that you have delicate features and excellent innate talent. You don't seem to be an ordinary person. Tell me, who are you?" The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign sized Huai Romuyu up. A light flashed past his eyes, and he nodded and asked, "I am the Vice Alliance Leader of the Beiyang's 100 Meetings Alliance, while Su Yun is the Alliance Leader. After he unified the Beiyang, he handed the Beiyang over to me to take care of." Huai Romuyu said unhurriedly. "Oh." The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's face turned cold. "In that case, you are the closest person to Su Yun?" Since that's the case, then I won't be courteous. Girl, come with me. As long as you are in my hands, Su Yun will definitely obediently appear." With that, he extended his hand and grabbed Huai Romuyu. Seeing that, Hu Qianmei became anxious and wanted to take action, but Huai Romuyu spoke out in time and stopped her. "Senior, if you think like this, then you are gravely mistaken. Su Yun appointed me as the Vice Alliance Leader because he saw my talent. There is not much of a connection between me and Su Yun. I believe that even if Senior kills me, Su Yun will not feel the slightest bit of heartache." Huai Romuyu said loudly. "Since that's the case, why would he give you such an important position as the Vice Alliance Leader? Girl, do you think that I, the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign, am that easy to deceive?" The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign snorted. His words revealed a mystical, profound spirit force that struck Huai Romuyu's snow-white ears, causing her to feel dizzy. Chapter 737. The Strong with the Strong. Every word and action could kill a person. Huai Romuyu's delicate body trembled slightly. She could not help but take a few steps back. Her small face was extremely pale, without a trace of blood. She held on her chest, took a few deep breaths, stabilized her dizzy mind, and said with all her might, "Senior, if you don't believe me, then kill me. Senior thinks that I am very important to Su Yun. Then you can give it a try, and see if Su Yun will seek revenge for me." "So you're saying that I can't kill you?" The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's voice rose by an octave, his anger not decreasing in the slightest. "Senior's strength is extremely high and can be compared to the heavens and earth. To us, you could be considered a god, and the lives of everyone here are in your hands. Senior can naturally kill whoever you want, and no one can stop you. But if Senior kills me, there will be no meaning, and if Senior does not kill me, maybe I can help Senior find Hu Qianmei and find Su Yun, Huairou Muyu said calmly. Hearing that, the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's anger gradually subsided, and a glimmer flashed past his eyes. You help me find Su Yun? Ridiculous. Why are you doing this? Of course it's for the Beiyang, Huairou Muyu said without any trace of politeness. In the end, Vice Alliance leader is still Vice Alliance leader, and this Beiyang is still Su Yun's. I am not willing. If Senior could take care of Su Yun, I will naturally be happy, so I am willing to help Senior find Su Yun. Is that so? The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign nodded his head. Since that's the case, then tell me, where is Su Yun? Su Yun is currently in the True Devil Sect, Huairou Muyu said. True Devil Sect? The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign frowned. The surrounding spirit cultivators were also startled. In fact, many people here knew Hu Qianmei, and since the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign was looking for Su Yun and Hu Qianmei, they naturally had a plan in their hearts. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's strength was not ordinary. Should he give up on Hu Qianmei to save his life? However, Huairou Muyu's words made them give up on that thought. Furthermore, Huairou Muyu suddenly mentioned the True Devil Sect, causing these people to tremble with fear. In order to protect their lives, they had betrayed Hu Qianmei. Although they would not be killed by the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign, they had unknowingly offended Su Yun. One had to know, behind Su Yun stood a super sect of the demon realm, and even the mighty Dragon Temple did not dare to offend him. If Su Yun were to pursue the matter, even if they escaped to the ends of the earth, they would still die without a doubt. Thinking of this, many people hesitated and did not dare to say anything. It was not that the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign did not know anything. He had also investigated the matter of Su Yun being involved with the real devil sect. When are you going? The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign said in a deep voice. It's been a while. Do you know when you're coming back? I heard that he will be back in 3 to 5 days. 3 to 5 days. After the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign heard this, he snorted coldly and exhaled a cold aura. Then do you know where Hu Qianmei is? This? I don't know. I don't know. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign looked at her suspiciously. After thinking for a moment, he suddenly said, Bring all the people in this main city back to the Eastern Emperor Island. Yes, sir. The subordinates of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign shouted loudly, and then began to capture them. Seeing that, Huairou Muyu's face changed and anxiously shouted, Stop! What is it? Girl, you want to stop me? The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's voice was filled with killing intent. This junior does not dare. It is just that this junior does not know why Senior is looking for Su Yun. Huairou Muyu immediately said, Ha! Hu Qianmei is Su Yun's dual cultivation partner. I am very clear about this, but Su Yun is not simple. He has a close relationship with the Wanhua realm, and also has a relationship with the Sword Ancestor. And, with the backing of the True Devil Sect, I am not his match. So, I want to duel with him one-on-one to wash away the humiliation he caused me in the Wanhua realm back then. Su Yun's strength is not your match, Senior. He will definitely not fight you one-on-one. So I captured her dual cultivation partner. Let's see if he would obediently give in. Although this sovereign does not have a deep understanding of Su Yun, but I can tell that this person is extremely loyal. If not, why would he become enemies with us for the sake of the Sword Ancestor? I am sure that if I capture his dual cultivation partner, he will definitely come to save me. That way I can kill him. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign said, but just as he finished speaking, Huairou Muyu immediately shouted, Senior, if you think like that, then you are gravely mistaken. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign stared at her. However, Huairou Muyu was calm and unhurried as she said, Su Yun did not care about anything for the Sword Ancestor, not because he values friendship and righteousness, but because he thinks that the Sword Ancestor has value and that he can obtain benefits from a Sword Ancestor, so he did it on purpose. On the other hand, those people who are dispensable to him are not like that. Su Yun had abandoned many dual cultivation partners, and in the Beiyang, there were at least 4 of them. Senior and Su Yun have not known each other for a long time, but this junior has been with Su Yun for a long time and has long seen through him. Therefore, this junior believes that Su Yun will definitely not be like senior. Huayro Miyu spoke very seriously, and when he spoke, his eyes were still looking at the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign. She had always thought that her lying skills had already reached the pinnacle, but now, it seems that she was still lacking compared to Huayro Miyu. If she were to lie in front of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign, she would have trembled a long time ago. An existence of this level would be able to observe your heart, eyes, actions, and so on, and once there was any change that was not right, they would be able to determine that you were lying. However, Huayro Miyu did it naturally, without any flaws, as if what she said was what Su Yun had done, and Su Yun was a complete scum. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign and Huayro Miyu looked at each other for a while. After an unknown period of time, the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's cold voice came out again. Since you said that capturing Hu Qianmei will not force Su Yun out, then I will massacre the Beiyang. How about it? Other than infuriating Su Yun and forcing him to cooperate with the Wanhua realm and the True Devil sect to attack Senior's Eastern Emperor Island, there will not be any other result. Senior is only wasting his energy by doing this. It will not be of any use. This won't do, and that won't do. Then tell me, what should I do? The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign was getting impatient. Huayro Miyu was silent for a moment, then said seriously, Senior, how about this? You leave this matter to me. I will contact Su Yun and trick him to a place. Senior will set up an ambush first. Wait for me to lure Su Yun out. Senior can just surround and annihilate him. That way, Senior can take Su Yun's dog life. Isn't the humiliation washed away? Hearing that, the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign thought for a moment, and after thinking about it, it seemed that this method was feasible. Currently, Su Yun was not in the Beiyang. He was preparing to capture the people who were close to Su Yun and use them as hostages, control Su Yun first, and then kill him. But from the looks of it, it seemed that there was no one in the Beiyang that could make Su Yun pay attention to them. Maybe he could use this girl's method to try it out. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign thought to himself, then said solemnly, All right, since that's the case, I will believe you and let you lure Su Yun out. Huayro Miyu immediately bowed. Senior, rest assured, this junior will definitely not disappoint you. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign nodded. He suddenly extended his hand and took out a diamond-shaped crystal box, then threw it into the air. The crystal box immediately expanded infinitely and floated in the air. When the lid of the box was opened, a large number of grayish-black pills floated out. They were like black snowflakes that drifted down, swaying towards every spirit cultivator in the main city. This is a heart-connecting pill refined by me, the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign. After you consume it, your hearts and souls will be linked to me. With just a thought, you will all die. Now all of you must consume this heart-connecting pill. Anyone who dares to disobey will be killed on the spot without mercy. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign said coldly. His voice was extremely loud and clear, spreading throughout the entire main city. As soon as these words were said, all the spirit cultivators in the main city went into an uproar. They prostrated themselves on the ground, their eyes filled with fear as they looked at the slowly descending pill. This doesn't seem appropriate, my lord. We are innocent. A spirit cultivator could not help but shout out. He really did not want his life to be in the hands of others. He believed that no spirit cultivator would wish for this to happen. Once he swallowed this pill, it would mean that he would forever be at the mercy of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign and would forever lose his freedom. He believed that all the spirit cultivator present understood this point. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign only told them to swallow the pill and obey him, but he never said that he would give them the antidote. In other words, everyone here had to join the Eastern Emperor Island and become the servants of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign. It was just that, just as the spirit cultivator finished speaking, one of the subordinates beside the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign instantly appeared in front of him and punched him on the top of the head. Puffed. The sound of a walnut being smashed rang out. That person's body was immediately smashed into powder by the fist. Even his soul disappeared without a trace along with the wind. He was completely dead. He showed no mercy and killed as soon as he said he would. When the surrounding people saw this, they were all shocked. If anyone else doesn't eat, kill them immediately. This sovereign will not repeat it again. Not killing you now is already giving you a huge gift. Don't fail to appreciate my kindness. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, said coldly, then waved his hand and shouted to his subordinates, activate the Heaven's Eye sense. If anyone in this city makes any strange movements, immediately kill them. Do you understand? Yes, Venerable One. Everyone replied and immediately dispersed, scurrying to various parts of the city to monitor everyone. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, swept a glance around. Then his gaze landed on Huayro Muyu and Hu Qianmei and said indifferently, why aren't you eating yet? Hurry up and eat it. If you don't eat, I won't believe you, and for those who I don't believe, I will usually send them to the Western Paradise. Do you understand? A hidden look of astonishment flashed past Huayro Muyu's eyes. She looked at the grayish-black pellet that was slowly floating in front of her, took a deep breath, and reached out to catch it. Understood. Then hurry up and eat it. Chapter 738. Huayro Muyu already had no other choice. If she did not eat, or even showed any signs of being unwilling to eat, the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, would kill her without hesitation. However, if he ate it, then everything he had done before would be wasted, and Su Yun would still be in a passive state. At this moment, Huayro Muyu and Hu Qianmei were extremely conflicted. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, looked at Huayro Muyu, his eyes gradually becoming sharp. Muyu, I'm not eating this pill. Just then, Hu Qianmei suddenly said to Huayro Muyu in a low voice. Why? Huayro Muyu turned. If I eat it, he will definitely use me as a hostage to threaten Big Brother. Hu Qianmei clenched her teeth. But if you don't eat it, you will die immediately. If I die, at least my brother can live. Miss Hu, he does not know that you are Su Yun's dual cultivation partner, and by doing this, you will not bring us or Su Yun any benefits. On the contrary, if we eat the pill, we will be able to take action with Su Yun, cooperate with him, and capture all of the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign in one fell swoop. This way, we will eliminate a great enemy for Su Yun. Isn't that much better than dying like this? Huayro Muyu said seriously. Hearing that, Hu Qianmei was startled for a moment, then nodded his head and sighed. Muyu, Su Yun did not see the wrong person. Handing Bei Yang over to you was the right choice. You see things more comprehensively than me. You're flattering me. Actually, you're not shallow, but because this matter concerns Su Yun, you're confused. Huayro Muyu shook his head. Then, the two of them popped the grayish-black pills into their mouths without hesitation. Seeing that, the remaining doubt in the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign's heart was completely dispelled. Huayro Muyu had swallowed the pill, so her life was in his hands. There was no need to worry about loyalty at all. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, threw a brown round plate towards Huayro Muyu and said indifferently, if there's a situation with Su Yun, use this to contact me. You should know what to do next, right? Senior, no. Master, please be at ease. This subordinate will definitely complete your mission. Huayro Muyu bowed and said, The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, nodded his head, his eyes revealing a trace of praise. This time, he looked at Huayro Muyu again, carefully sizing him up from head to toe, the praise in his eyes becoming stronger and stronger. What's your name? Reporting to Master, this subordinate surname is Huayro, and my name is Muyu. Huayro Muyu? What a good name. Huayro, do this well, if you succeed, and let me take away Su Yun's cultivation and the magic treasure on his body. Then the entire Bei Yang will be yours. Not only that, I will make an exception and let you enter my palace, dual cultivate with me, and help you obtain 10,000 years of cultivation. Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign said. Huayro Muyu immediately knelt down and kowtowed. Thank you, Master, for your grace. All right. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, waved his hand, then turned around and flew towards the horizon, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Seeing the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, and his group leave, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. However, there was no doubt that although everyone's nerves were relaxed, their hearts were heavy, as if a huge rock was hanging over their heads. No one revealed a relaxed expression. Huai Romuyu took a light breath, then turned to the people beside him, passed down the order. The matter of the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, coming here is not to be leaked. Whoever leaks it out, the entire city will be buried. As long as Su Yun finds out about this, the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, will definitely kill us all. Do you understand? This subordinate understands. The man trembled as he spoke. Give the order. Yes. With that, he ran away. Hu Qianmei looked at the person who left. Her charming face was also filled with seriousness. She walked over and asked Huai Romuyu, "What do you plan to do?" "Wait for Su Yun to return." Huai Romuyu said softly. "Yes." Hu Qianmei nodded her head. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something and asked, "Muyu, you have been in the ultimate martial world for so long and have been doing business for so many years. You must be very knowledgeable, right? What's wrong? Let me ask you something. If two people share their innate talent because of dual cultivation, is there any way to remove this strange connection?" Hu Qianmei stared at Huai Romuyu, his expression extremely serious. Huai Romuyu was an intelligent person. He naturally understood what Hu Qianmei meant. "You shared your innate talent with Su Yun?" "That's right. If one of us dies, the other person's innate talent will be crippled." "Muyu, I know your plan. I reckon that you will not even tell Su Yun that the two of us have already consumed the pill. I understand Su Yun, and you also understand Su Yun. If he knew about this, he would definitely be restrained by the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. And at that time, the situation would be even worse." Huai Romuyu was silent. After a moment, she spoke softly. "I know the method to remove it, but you can tell him, but I won't." "I won't either." Hu Qianmei immediately followed up. "But I don't think we should surrender just like that. Although the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, forced us to consume such a pill, if we kill him, the effects of the poison will be dispelled." "Actually, I have that plan." Huai Romuyu looked left and right, then said softly, "Although the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, has left, his eyes and ears are definitely still watching us. This is not a place to talk. Let's go back and talk." "All right." In the vast sky. "Quick! The mighty Sor Valley has lost the clear sky holy robe, so there is nothing to worry about. Right now, the clear sky holy robe is in the hands of a nameless person. Everyone hurry up and think of a way to stop that nameless person and snatch the clear sky holy robe from his hands." An older-looking spirit cultivator shouted to the dozens of spirit cultivators behind him. Everyone's speed was extremely fast. Like shooting stars, they stepped on their flying swords and rushed forward. Almost all of them were swallowing pellets while urging the profound chi to rush forward. Their faces were filled with anxiety, as though they were afraid that if they were to slow down for even a moment, the treasure they were looking forward to would be far away from them. "We found out about the clear sky holy robe too late. It's already been a few days, and it's said that there are at least a few 100,000 people heading to the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain. If we go now, will we still be able to get the clear sky holy robe?" A person said with a face full of worry. "Stupid." The older spirit cultivator immediately scolded. "Even if we can't get the clear sky holy robe, we can at least get some benefits. With so many people gathered together, it will definitely cause a dispute. When they start fighting, won't we be able to reap the benefits? Even if we can't get the clear sky holy robe, the souls and magic treasure of those dead existences will all belong to us, right? These benefits are worth your hard work." When everyone heard this, their eyes lit up. Big Brother's right. Big Brother is too wise. Huh. Everyone's faces were filled with joy as they increased their horsepower and rushed forward. However, not long after the leader flew forward, he suddenly slowed down. He stared blankly ahead as his speed became slower and slower. In the end, he actually stopped in midair. Seeing that, the spirit cultivator behind him all stopped in their tracks. "Big Brother, what's wrong?" everyone asked curiously. The older spirit cultivator raised his trembling hand and pointed ahead. Everyone looked in the direction he was pointing, only to see that there was nothing in front of them, only an endless abyss and a scarlet sky. They could no longer see any spirit cultivator, and the so-called thousand-cloud sword mountain had also disappeared without a trace in the world in front of him. There was only the blue sky and the pitch-black abyss. Everyone's face revealed an extremely exaggerated expression of shock. They had never seen such a scene in their lives. After leaving the thousand-cloud sword mountain, Su Yun flew crazily, passed through the sword stream, and immediately left the sword world. The trip to the sword world was truly filled with danger. To be able to leave the sword world alive, Su Yun did not dare say that it was because he was too powerful. If it was a normal situation, Su Yun would definitely not take the risk to snatch the clear sky holy robe, but for the sake of his parents and sister, in order to solve the Supreme Sect and save the true Devil Sect, he had to do this. The old man from the dark place had said that the only thing that could contend against the limitless profound Qi was the clear sky holy robe. Without the clear sky holy robe, he did not even have the qualifications to face the people from the Supreme Sect. After obtaining the treasure, Su Yun immediately moved and rushed towards the true Devil Sect. The Supreme Sect had already made his move. He had wasted a lot of time in the sword world. He did not know what the situation was like if the battle between the true Devil Sect and the Supreme Sect started. It would truly be uncontrollable. Unable to contact him, Su Yun felt more and more danger. After entering the true Devil realm, he took out his flying sword and galloped all the way. Not long later, he arrived in front of the true Devil Sect's mountain gate. However, when he entered the mountain gate, he discovered that the entire true Devil Sect was extremely quiet and strange. He could only see a few sparse Devil Cultivator-s moving around inside. When the Devil Cultivator saw Su Yun flying over, they immediately rushed over and knelt down on one knee to greet him. "Greetings, Lord Demon Lord. What's going on?" Su Yun looked left and right. "Where are the elders? Where's the vice sect leader?" Reporting to Master, the elders and the sect leader have gone out to handle some matters. A Devil Cultivator said respectfully. "What is it?" This subordinate does not know. The vice sect leader did not allow this matter to be leaked, so only the vice sect leader and the others knew about it. "Is that so? Did the people from the Supreme Sect come?" 20,000 people came, but they were annihilated and their corpses were taken away by the vice sect leader. Oh, hearing that, Su Yun was immediately shocked. "All right, Lord Demon Lord, this subordinate has captured a human. He said that he is from the Bei Yang and has something important to report to you. This subordinate does not know his identity, so I locked him up. Does the Lord want to see him?" The Devil Cultivator said again. "Someone from the Bei Yang?" Hearing that, Su Yun's heart tensed up and immediately said, "Quickly bring me there to take a look." "Lord, this way, please." Chapter 739. The true Devil Sect's prison was not an ordinary place. Not only were there all sorts of defensive enchantments and array diagrams, there were also a large number of traps, and there were also 700 powerful Devil Cultivator-s guarding it. Even if it was a Spirit Emperor, they would not be able to come out, let alone a mere Spirit Cultivator from the ultimate martial world. Su Yun was brought away by the Devil Cultivator for about the time it took for an incense stick to burn before he turned into the prison. Inside the prison, a skinny male Spirit Cultivator with no profound Qi was leaning against the wall, his eyes lifelessly staring at the ceiling, as if he had lost his soul. When Su Yun walked over, the man raised his head to take a look. Seeing who it was, he immediately crawled up from the ground, grabbed onto the iron bars of the prison, and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Alliance Leader! Alliance Leader! I've finally seen you, Alliance Leader!" A Spirit Cultivator with an extraordinary cultivation actually started to cry. Su Yun quickly walked over, looked at the man, and realized that he was Li Shan, who was working in the Huairou Chamber of Commerce, and immediately said to the Devil Cultivator beside him, "Open the cell." "Yes, my lord." Devil Cultivator immediately stepped forward and removed the seal on the cell. Li Shan, who was inside, immediately ran out, knelt in front of Su Yun, and cried, "Alliance Leader, something happened to the Bei Yang. The Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, suddenly descended upon the Beiyang and killed many of our people. Huairou main city is extremely anxious right now. Alliance leader, please quickly head to the main city to save them. Otherwise, I don't know what will happen. The more Li Shan spoke, the more excited he became. The more he spoke, the more shocked he became. His face was deathly pale. Seeing that, Su Yun's face changed. Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign. He had forgotten about this person. Ever since the last time they fought in the Wanhua realm, they had formed a grudge. He never thought that this person would be so despicable to actually make a move on the Beiyang. Su Yun did not dare hesitate and immediately shouted, Li Shan, quickly follow me back to the Beiyang. Yes, sir, Li Shan shouted. Su Yun was about to leave, but when the devil cultivator saw him, he immediately asked, Lord Devil Lord, do you need to use the power of the true devil sect? Hearing that, Su Yun's footsteps paused. He thought for a moment, then shook his head. Supreme sect is pressuring us day by day. The true devil sect does not have enough manpower. How can we have the strength to care about this matter? Furthermore, this is my problem. As the demon lord of the true devil sect, I have not been able to do much for the true devil sect, and instead cause trouble everywhere. I am already very ashamed. Don't tell Octagon Aniseed about this matter. When I finish dealing with the matters of the Beiyang, I will come back to help him. With that, Su Yun walked out of the prison. The devil cultivator immediately cupped his fists and bowed, respectfully sending Su Yun off. With the true devil sect's void tearing technique, Su Yun and Li Shan quickly left the true devil sect and entered the Beiyang. Li Shan was ordered by Huairou Muyu to come to the true devil sect to seek help. Facing an expert like the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign, other than seeking Su Yun's help, she had no other choice. Few of the spirit cultivators she had come into contact with were opponents of the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign, and even if there were people who could contend against the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign, they would not dare to provoke him. No one was willing to offend a tyrant for the sake of the Beiyang. Su Yun was extremely anxious. He rushed towards the Beiyang at an extremely fast speed. The Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign's strength was extremely high. It could be said that among the people who came to kill Sword Ancestor, none of them were weak. Any one of them were existences that Huairou Muyu and the other merchants could not fight against. Back then, a small suicide which had already caused countless people in the Beiyang to have a headache. But now that it was the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign, wouldn't it be even more troublesome? Su Yun rushed all the way and quickly rushed into the main city. However, the bustling scene in the main city caused him to be stunned. The entire city did not suffer much damage, nor did it have many traces of battle. There were only some damages at the city gate and some blood essence that could not be dispersed. Other than that, there was nothing else. Everything was as usual. There were not many changes, but what made Su Yun curious was that everyone here had a face full of worry and heaviness, and no one revealed a smile. What was going on? The more Su Yun looked, the more curious he became, and immediately rushed towards the mansion. Upon entering the mansion, the servant girl, Xiao Chui, immediately shouted out, Miss, the Alliance leader is back. The Alliance leader is back. Xiao Chui shouted in surprise as she ran towards Huairou Muyu's room. When the voice came out, Huairou Muyu and Hu Qianmei, who were inside the house, immediately ran out. When they saw Su Yun walking into the house safely, the two girls had complicated expressions in their eyes. Hu Qianmei lightly covered her lips, a trace of excitement and tears in her eyes, but she took a few deep breaths and squeezed out a charming smile, not revealing any traces of crying. As for Huairou Muyu, she was relatively calm, but her deep autumn eyes revealed exhaustion and helplessness from time to time. Big brother, you're finally back, Hu Qianmei exclaimed softly, then ran over and threw herself into Su Yun's embrace. Su Yun hugged Hu Qianmei tightly and only let go after a moment of warmth. It's good that you're fine. He heaved a sigh of relief. Of course nothing will happen to us. Look at how worried you are, Hu Qianmei said while grinning, his face full of relaxation. Su Yun revealed a slight smile, looked at her, then shifted his gaze, looked at Huairou Muyu, and nodded to her. Muyu, where's the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign? Let's go. Huayro Mu slowly walked over. He left for no reason? Su Yun frowned. What happened in there? The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, will naturally not return empty-handed. He personally came here for you, but you are not in the Bei Yong, so he can't do anything to you. Thus, he plans to slaughter the Bei Yong to vent his anger towards you. Of course, I did not let him succeed. With martial arts, even 100 Huayro Mu would not be able to stop a single finger of the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, but he is not as eloquent as me. I told him that I would help him lure you out and use his hands to kill you, while I would sit on the Bei Yong. He listened to my surrender and left. Huayro Mu spoke unhurriedly, but as he spoke, he looked to the side. Su Yun was not an idiot. He could tell what was going on. He thought for a while, then asked, "The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, is not an ignorant person. What you said is only your side of the story. How could he believe you so easily?" "That's right, my surrender to him is indeed very suspicious, and he has no reason to believe me. But compared to killing me, it is obvious that using me is more beneficial to him. So he chose to believe me, and in terms of loyalty, he forced us to consume a strange pill. This pill was specially made by him, and after we consume it, he can kill us all with a single thought, so he is not worried that I will betray him. But Su Yun, you don't have to worry. I've already removed this pill, so nothing will happen to me in the entire main city." Huayro Mu said, "That's right." Hu Qianmei looked at Su Yun's gradually heavy face and laughed. Even if the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, had calculated everything, he would never have calculated that we would have a way to remove his pill. I believe he must be exploding with anger right now. Huh. Hearing the two girls' words, Su Yun's heart jumped a few times. He looked at the two of them suspiciously. "I know better than you what kind of strength the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, has. The things refined by the existence of the Spirit Emperor are not things that can be removed by the Sky Spirit Master. Muyu, Mei Er, you two aren't lying to me, right?" "How could that be?" Hu Qianmei said. "Su Yun, I think you should know that I have never lied to you." "Then what method did you use to remove the effects of the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign's pill?" Although the people of the Huayro Chamber of Commerce are not strong spirit cultivator, their knowledge and experience are not any weaker than those of the Spirit Emperor. The method to remove the effects of the pill is not difficult. I only need to collect some materials to refine the antidote. But amongst these materials, there are a few that are extremely precious. I searched the entire Huayro Chamber of Commerce, and only found 2 of them, just enough to remove the effects of the pill. For me and Hu Qianmei, the others might not be so lucky. Huayro Mu said. Hearing that, Su Yun's eyes were still filled with suspicion. He believed that the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign had forced everyone to take the medicine, but he did not believe that Huayro Mu and the others would be able to remove the effects of the medicine. After thinking for a while, he suddenly raised his hand and pressed it on Huayro Mu's chest. The big hand and the fragrant and soft skin were separated by a layer of silk. Huh! Huayro Mu's delicate body trembled. She suddenly raised her eyes to look at Su Yun, only to see Su Yun closing his eyes, secretly activating his profound qi. A trace of mystical qi seeped into Huayro Mu's delicate body from his palm. Seeing that, Huayro Mu and the shocked Hu Qianmei immediately understood Su Yun's actions. Su Yun wanted to investigate the situation in their bodies. If Huayro Mu was speaking, Su Yun would definitely be able to sense something. What the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign gave these people was definitely a spirit-type pill. This kind of pill used a mysterious qi to grab onto a person's life vein, and the owner of the pill could use his spirit to control this qi. With just a thought, he could break the other party's life vein, and the other party would die without a doubt. Of course, this lifeline might not only be physical, it might also be mental. Only a powerful spirit cultivator like the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, could refine such a terrifying pill. Su Yun checked Huayro Mu's body, and after a while, he placed his big hand on Hu Qianmei's towering chest. Hu Qianmei looked at Huayro Mu, whose face was flushed red, and the corners of her pink lips slightly raised. She was not the least bit shy, and instead stuck out her chest, revealing an expression of enjoyment on her face. After checking for a while, Su Yun retracted his hand his heavy face revealing a look of relief. "Looks like you guys are indeed fine." Seeing this, the two girls heaved a sigh of relief. However, the people in the main city are in trouble. Huairo Muyu shook his head. "It is not only the two of us who have consumed this pill. Everyone in the main city has consumed it. And Su Yun, there are people from the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, in the city. You have already entered the city. I believe that the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, will arrive in a few days. We must quickly prepare." "What do you mean?" Su Yun asked. "Naturally, I'll beat him at his own game," Huairo Muyu said softly. "You and I will put on a show and confuse the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. When the time is right, you will immediately kill him. If he thinks that the pill is still effective on me, then he will definitely trust me. Su Yun, this is our only chance." "All right." Su Yun nodded his head seriously. Chapter 740. The entire city was deathly silent. The matter of everyone being forced to swallow pills could not be hidden from Su Yun, so Huairo Muyu confessed. Su Yun had used up a lot of profound strength in the sword world, but he had not rested yet. After discussing with Huairo Muyu for a while, he returned to the house to meditate, but Hu Qianmei also went in. The two of them closed the door and started the dual cultivation. Huairo Muyu led a few servants towards the Chamber of Commerce. Su Yun's return was too sudden. He believed that the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, had already received the news of his return to the Beiyang. Maybe the Sky Sovereign had already moved and headed towards this place. The main Chamber of Commerce was still bustling with people, but everyone was no longer as enthusiastic as before. They were only constantly asking the service staff to find the goods they needed. It was believed that most of the people here wanted to find some materials from the Chamber of Commerce and use their own methods to remove the effects of the pills in their bodies. However, up until now, no one had succeeded. Su Yun knew that the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, would come to settle the score with him. But he never thought that the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, would come to the Beiyang to cause trouble. "Miss, there's a large-scale battle in the north of the city. It seems like someone can't take it anymore and wants to leave the city." A servant ran over and said anxiously to Huairo Muyu, "Then let them leave the city." Huairo Muyu said expressionlessly, "Yes, yes." The servant immediately ran away. However, at this time, another person who served the Huairo Chamber of Commerce quickly ran over. "Miss, there's a commotion in the branch in the west of the city. Many people are smashing the branch. They want to snatch more materials and use them to remove the abnormalities on their bodies." The man panted as he spoke. "Let them snatch it. Send someone to maintain order. Don't cause too much a ruckus." Huairo Muyu continued, but his expression was indifferent. Seeing that, the servant was puzzled, but in the end he did not ask any more questions and turned to leave. Actually, this was the inevitable result. Huairo Muyu had already thought of it. With such a thing happening, how could the main city be peaceful? Chaos would definitely happen, but she didn't have the energy to stop it right now. She walked into the Chamber of Commerce and arrived in front of the storage room. The person in charge of storage was currently leaning against the door with a powerless look on his face. Looking at his worried expression, it was clear that he was also worried about his future. Seeing that Huairo Muyu had stood up, the man anxiously stood up and bowed respectfully to Huairo Muyu. "Greetings, young Mississippi. Is everything ready?" Huairo Muyu said indifferently. "It's all prepared according to Mrs. request. It's all piled up inside," Kusho said seriously. "Very good." Huairo Muyu nodded her head and signaled to the people beside her with her eyes. The group of people walked into the warehouse and started to transport the materials. Huairo Muyu looked at the disappointed Kusho. She thought for a moment, then said indifferently, "You don't have to worry too much. Nothing will happen to you. No one will die." "Why?" Kusho raised his head and looked at Huairo Muyu. He was startled. "Miss, do you have a way to remove our symptoms?" "No," Huairo Muyu said bluntly. "Then, Su Yun has already returned to the main city and has absolute trust in me. I believe that in a few days I will be able to kill him and hand his head over to the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign. If the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign is happy, why would he kill us? Don't worry, everything will be fine." Hearing that, Kusho was shocked. "Miss, You really want to make a move against Alliance leader Su-yun? Do I look like I'm joking? Huai-ro Mu-yu snorted. But Alliance leader Su treats you well. Not bad. Between him and I, we are just using each other. He relies on me to manage the Beiyang to make money. And at most, he only treats me as a tool to make money. This is not bad. A place like the Beiyang should not be in Su-yun's hands. It should belong to me. Furthermore, the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign is powerful and is not something that Su-yun can compare to. If I join the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign, it will definitely be stronger than following Su-yun. Her expression was very serious, and her expression was extremely solemn. It did not seem like she was faking it. Hearing that, Kusho's surprised face suddenly calmed down, and his eyes flickered with a strange light. A moment later, his body swayed and turned into another man wearing a silver robe with a long sword on his back. This Kusho was actually a fake. Seeing that, Huai-ro Mu-yu's face revealed a look of shock. Hee, it seems like Miss Huai-ro is indeed loyal to Lord Sky Sovereign. Very good. With your loyalty, Lord Sky Sovereign will definitely be very happy if he knows. The man cupped his fists towards the sky and said with a smile. Hearing that, Huai-ro Mu secretly snorted, put away her surprise, and said, Why are you here? What? Are you here to monitor me? That's right. I was originally Su-yun's man, and now that I suddenly turn to Lord Sky Sovereign, he will more or less suspect me. Miss Huai-ro, you don't have to think like that. I didn't come here just for you. When Lord Sky Sovereign left, he left me behind. His goal was only for me to wait here for news of Su-yun. How about it? Miss Huai-ro, Su-yun entered the city not long ago, right? Did he go to find you? Yes. Huai-ro Mu said without hesitation. The appearance of the people in the city made him suspicious, so I told him everything. You told him everything? That person's face changed slightly. What did you say? I told him that I colluded with the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign and planned to lure him into the trap you set up to kill him. I told him to cooperate with me and not wait for the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign to make a move and kill him first. What? When that person heard this, his entire body immediately overflowed with killing intent. He was furious. Cunning woman, how dare you betray Lord Sky Sovereign and play tricks on us? You're courting death. With that, he was about to make his move. Wait, Huai-ro Mu shouted. The man's movements froze as he snorted. Are you begging for mercy? No, it's just an explanation. Huai-ro Mu said indifferently, without the slightest bit of fear on his face. Explanation? What else is there to explain? Huai-ro Mu looked at him lightly. Master, let me ask you, can you hide the matter of Lord Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's arrival from Su-yun? After the man heard this, he looked at her coldly and did not say a word. This is impossible to hide. Su-yun's methods are heaven-defying. He has the support of the true devil sect. He has the support of the Wanhua realm, and even has the support of the Sword Ancestor. Although these are all information that I've gathered, I also know that the current Su-yun is no longer an ordinary existence. His energy is extremely strong. I think that if the Sky Sovereign comes and does something, he will definitely find out about it. So, if I were to lie to him, wouldn't that make him suspicious? Make him wary of me, and even persecute me? So I told him the truth. Of course, I will also tell you the truth. Why? Because I will let Su-yun beat me in my own game, and I will also let you guys beat me in my own game. With that said, the man was startled for a moment. He immediately removed the profound strength in his hands and asked, Beat him at his own game? What do you mean? Don't you understand? It's just a trap within a trap. Huai-ro Mu said slowly. Su-yun thinks that I pretended to betray him and joined hands with Lord Sky Sovereign to persecute him. So he took the advice I gave him before and made his move against Lord Sky Sovereign before Lord Sky Sovereign made his move. Then, Lord Sky Sovereign can also be one step ahead of him and set up an ambush to kill Su-yun. 3 days later, I will lure Su-yun out of the city and head towards the Half-Moon Lake in the south. You guys go and ask Lord Sky Sovereign to prepare and put on a show. When Su-yun arrives, lure him into a trap, and you guys immediately kill him. Kill him. If that's the case, Su-yun will definitely die. Hearing that, the man began to ponder. Why Romeo looked at him and said indifferently, "Don't doubt my loyalty. My life is in the hands of Lord Sky Sovereign. Who do you think I will choose?" Miss Y. Rowe is overthinking it. I am not doubting your loyalty to Lord Sky Sovereign, but Su Yun is not that easy to deal with. With that, he took out a sachet from the space bag at his waist and handed it over to Huai Romeu. "This is the sachet that Lord Sky Sovereign asked me to pass to you." Huai Romeu took it and looked at it for a moment. She felt that the sachet was extremely fragrant and refreshing, and holding in her hand, her cultivation had actually increased by a lot, and the profound chi in her body seemed to have become even denser. "Treasure," Huai Romeu said indifferently. "With just a casual grip, my strength has increased by at least 30%. "Ha, that's right." The man laughed out loud. "On the surface, it does seem like that, but in reality, it's not." Huai Romeu frowned. "What do you mean by that?" "Hee, you don't know. This sachet is called the Een Delight sachet. It belongs to the Een Delight Queen of the true Beastkin realm. On the surface, it seems to be able to increase a person's cultivation, but in fact, it is secretly robbing a person's cultivation. Now that you are holding it, you feel that your strength has increased by 30%? Actually, this is just an illusion. Your strength has not increased at all. On the contrary, this sachet is absorbing your cultivation, and your strength is slowly decreasing. In less than 3 days, your cultivation will be completely sucked dry, and you will become immortal without any profound spirit energy." The man laughed sinisterly. "What?" A look of astonishment flashed past Huai Romeu's eyes. "This is just in case." The man laughed coldly. "Go and give this sachet to Su Yun now. Let him take it. After 3 days, his cultivation will unknowingly disappear, and at that time, Su Yun will be no different from trash. At that time, wouldn't it be easy to kill him?" Huai Romeu was silent. "I think Miss Huai Ro should know what to do next, right? Do it well, kill Su Yun, and the Sky Sovereign will definitely be happy. At that time, the Sky Sovereign will definitely reward you handsomely, and you will definitely soar to the top." After the man finished speaking, he turned and left. Huai Romeu was still standing at the same spot. After the man left, she picked up the sachet in her hand and looked at it for a while. She took a deep breath, threw the sachet into the space bag, turned around, and quickly walked out of the warehouse. Chapter 741. In the past 3 days, Su Yun had been hiding in his room to cultivate. Of course, there was a sparring partner this time. He sat cross-legged with his upper body bare, the profound strength around his body glowing with a golden light. The chi meridian that could contract freely transported the dense, profound chi, flowing throughout his entire body. After his trip to the sword world, Su Yun had gained a lot. His comprehension of the profound strength had also increased by a level, and the biggest gain was his comprehension of the sword. The brilliance of the hero's sword was not inferior to the great battle between the sword ancestor, the wicked Ghost King, the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, and the others. Everyone's sword skills left a deep impression on Su Yun, causing him to reminisce endlessly. However, when the evil sword appeared, all of these sword geniuses died under the evil sword. The profound chi became restless, and waves of numbness appeared in his body. This feeling lasted for a full 5 hours, and under Su Yun's serious meditation and training, the profound strength finally underwent a change, and his realm had also stepped into the 7th stage of the Sky Spirit Master. However, what made Su Yun even more surprised was that after stepping into the 7th stage, he had actually reached the peak of the realm. From the looks of it, he was only a step away from stepping into the 8th stage, and his fighting strength had even rushed into the 2 million mark. Current rank, 7 million. What was going on? How could it suddenly leap by such a large margin, directly reaching the peak of the 7th stage? Su Yun thought about it, but was puzzled. Suddenly, he seemed to have understood something and lowered his head to look at his naked upper body. With a thought, the invisible imperial battle robe immediately appeared. Could it be? Was it because of this divine object? Thinking about it, Su Yun immediately closed his eyes and felt it again. After about the time it took for an incense stick to burn, he opened his eyes and exhaled a breath of relief. It seems like the heavens are taking care of me too much. Suyin could not help but chuckle. The divine power of the imperial battle robe could actually be used on his own chi meridian in profound strength, although he was unable to analyze its specific effects. But without a doubt, the reason why his cultivation was able to reach the peak realm was definitely because of it. Calculating the time, it was about time. Su Yun was about to get up, but at this moment, a petite and exquisite figure suddenly jumped into his embrace. Following that, a pair of pink and soft lips pressed tightly against his. Su Yun was startled. He looked at Hu Qianmei, who was in his embrace, with a puzzled expression, only to see her greedily absorbing, as though she wanted to drill into Su Yun's body. After kissing for a while, they separated their lips. Then, a pair of blurry eyes appeared. "Brother, I want more." A few bone-numbing words came out from those lips. Hearing that, Su Yun was startled. He had only been back for a few days, but Hu Qianmei kept asking for it. Was it for cultivation? How did it become so frequent? However, since the beauty was begging him, Su Yun did not stand on ceremony. He directly pressed the soft little body onto the ground and began his conquest. Hu Qianmei hugged him tightly and cooperated with him with all her might. Deep in her blurry eyes, a trace of strange loneliness flickered. This obscure loneliness was quietly hidden in the depths of her heart. She no longer revealed it. Instead, all that was revealed was a gentle smile. She put away her charm, put away her mischievousness, and put away all her disguises. At this moment, she only revealed her true self to the man in front of her. Today's Hu Qianmei was a little different. Su Yun felt it, but he did not know what was different. After a while, Su Yun wanted to get up and meditate, using up some of the benefits he had just obtained. However, Hu Qianmei grabbed his hand, laughed, and said softly, "Big brother, you always meditate after you finish. It's too boring." What else can I do?" Su Yun asked doubtfully. "Let's chat." Hu Qianmei leaned his head on his arm and said softly. Su Yun thought for a moment, then nodded. "All right, then let's chat. What do you want to talk about?" "In the future." Hu Qianmei looked out of the window, her eyes gradually lost in thought. "Let's talk about where we should go after we end all of this." "Where do you want to go?" Su Yun turned his head and looked at the exquisite little face. "Go back." Hu Qianmei arched his head towards Su Yun and said softly, "I want to return to the Sky Martial Continent. I want to return to the small peak in front of the immortal Soar Mountain. I want to watch the sunrise and sunset from the peak. I want to count the days that have passed. I don't need to work so hard to cultivate. I don't need to tremble in fear because of the so-called hatred. I want to live a carefree life." It was a simple yet not simple thought. "When all of this is over, I'll bring you back," Su Yun said softly. "At that time, we will no longer think about cultivation, and we will no longer think about fighting for magic treasure. We will just guard that small peak and live a peaceful life. Spirit cultivator S all pursue the great Tao and desire longevity. Actually, longevity is not good at all. If you live a painful life, why do you want to live forever? As long as I can be happy, even if it's short, it's worth it. I will wait for that day. I will definitely wait." Hu Qianmei muttered softly, his eyes slowly closed, and his voice became weaker and weaker. Su Yun looked at her, only to see that she seemed to have fallen asleep, breathing lightly, without any sleep. He smiled in his heart, carried the girl, walked to the bed, activated the array formation on the bed, and left. At this cultivation level, he almost no longer slept and could recover his strength by meditating. Su Yun did not understand why Hu Qianmei was like this, but he had a vague feeling that something was going to happen. Taking advantage of the fact that Huairou Mu Yu had not returned yet, Su Yun left the house alone. Around dusk, Huairou Mu Yu returned from the Chamber of Commerce. Accompanied by Xiao Chui, Huairou Mu Yu walked straight into Su Yun's cultivation room. "Knock, knock." Huairou Mu Yu lightly knocked on the door. Hu Qianmei seemed to have woken up. "It's me, Mu Yu." Huairou Mu Yu called out softly. "It's you. Come in." Hearing that, Huairou Mu Yu said to Xiao Chui and went in alone. Walking into the house, he could not see Su Yun's figure. On the other hand, Hu Qianmei's face was filled with sadness. Seeing that, Huairou Muyu walked to the table and sat down alone. Where's Su Yun? He left. I don't know where he went. Maybe he'll be back soon. Hu Qianmei said weakly. You don't seem to be very happy. At this time, I really can't be happy. Hu Qianmei slowly raised his clothes and said softly. Huairou Muyu did not say anything. Why aren't you reacting at all? You don't seem to be afraid of death. I don't think you're a person who is afraid of death. You're wrong. I'm very afraid of death. Hu Qianmei laughed bitterly. In the past, when I was in the sky martial continent, I was afraid of death. I was very afraid of death. I was afraid that after I died, I would not be able to seek justice for my master. But after so many years, I have seen through it and have become unafraid of death. But when I met my brother, I suddenly became afraid of death. I was afraid that if I died, I would never see him again. Every word she said seemed to be trembling. Although Huairou Muyu could not understand Hu Qianmei's feelings, he knew how deep her love for Su Yun was. A female cultivator with low strength had forcefully entered the ultimate martial world from the sky martial continent, and her goal was to find the person she loved deeply. Who could compare to her courage? But if we don't sacrifice ourselves, then everyone will be sacrificed, including Su Yun. Huairou Muyu said indifferently. Once we tell Su Yun about this matter, with his personality, he will definitely be wary of the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, did not give us much time, and it is impossible for us to remove the effects of the pill in such a short period of time. Once the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, uses the effects of the pill to threaten Su Yun, then Su Yun will not be able to live, and in the end, we will also die. Therefore, we can only lie and deceive him. At the very least, when he faces the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, he will not be afraid because of us. You won't lose your life because of this. Hu Qianmei nodded her head. Compared to Huairou Muyu, she understood Su Yun better. What Huairou Muyu said was definitely possible. But of course, if he and Huairou Muyu would die, Su Yun would not have any scruples, and the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, would not be able to do anything to him. At this point, Huairou Muyu and Hu Qianmei had no other choice. Even if they did not take this path, they could not guarantee that they would be able to survive under the hands of the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. In the end, the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, is a scourge. Before we leave, let's treat it as getting rid of a potential threat for Su Yun. She said softly, only to see a bit of tears flowing out from Hu Qianmei's eyes. Alliance leader, you're back. Just then, Xiao Chui's voice came from outside. When the two girls heard this, they immediately put away their disappointed expressions, wiped away their tears, and looked at the door. Crack! The door was pushed open, and Su Yun's tall and big body stepped in, holding a fruit basket that was glowing with a red, green, and green light. Mayer, you're awake? I specially went out to get you some fruits that can increase your cultivation. Eat some when you wake up, Su Yun said with a smile, and when he saw the other person, he was surprised. Muyu, you're here too? When did you come? I just arrived. Huairou Muyu stood up and said softly, Su Yun, I'm afraid there's no time to eat the fruit now. I received news that the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, has already left, and when I have the materials, he will enter the Baiyang. We will leave now and head to the Half Moon Lake to prepare. Are you ready? Su Yun asked. Everything is ready. We're just waiting for the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, to enter the Half Moon Lake. All right, let's set off now. Huairou Muyu nodded, then took out a pink sachet from her bosom and handed it over to Su Yun. What is this? When Su Yun saw the sachet, his head was filled with fog. Don't ask too much, just take it with you. I'm a man. Why would I wear this? Su Yun scratched his head, but did not say much, and put on his waist. Seeing that, Huairou Muyu heaved a sigh of relief and said, All right, let's go. Yes. Su Yun nodded, his fists uncontrollably clenched. Chapter 742. The Half Moon Lake was a beautiful lake that existed close to the mountain range. It was only a 3-day journey from Huairou main city, and with Su Yun's speed, he would be able to reach it in half a day. There were very few people here, and the spirit cultivatoress that could be seen were all people who live in seclusion. The operation this time was not a simple one. Huayro Muyu had brought all the experts in the main city, a total of 3,000 experts above the 5th stage of the Sky Spirit Master. All of them were invited by her, using a large amount of profound coin. The Chamber of Commerce had used a lot of funds, but in this life and death situation, money was no longer important. To be able to live was more important than anything else. Su Yun and Hu Qianmei followed Huayro Muyu and walked in front. This time, Su Yun did not stop Hu Qianmei from coming, which made Hu Qianmei feel strange. The group of people quietly approached the half-moon lake. Everything was as they had expected. Near the intersection outside the half-moon lake, Huayro Muyu descended from the sky, looked around, raised his hand, and waved. Dong Kue, you guys wait here. You can only come in when I give the order, understand? Yes, miss. The man called Dong Kue immediately cupped his fists and shouted, all of you, disperse immediately and find a place to hide. Don't let others detect your presence. Seeing that, Dong Kue and the rest immediately took action, and very quickly, the 3,000 spirit cultivators were nowhere to be seen. Huayro Muyu nodded, looked at Su Yun, and the two of them walked inside. The half-moon lake was extremely quiet. As they got closer to the surface of the lake, they could feel the calm, mirror-like surface of the lake overflowing with a chill that penetrated into one's heart. It was extremely comfortable. However, at this moment, the three of them did not have the time to experience the chill. Su Yun looked around, nodded to Huayro Muyu, and then flew away alone, falling towards the half-moon lake. Pudong. When he entered the lake, a large amount of water splashed out, and then there was no movement. Hu Qianmei retreated a few steps and looked at the surface of the lake. His face did not change much, while Huayro Muyu took out a golden stone and threw it into the lake. In an instant, the lake emitted waves of golden light and quickly disappeared. After about half an incense stick of time, Su Yun rushed out of the lake. After landing on the ground, he was actually panting, and his face was full of exhaustion. What happened to you? Huayro Muyu asked. I don't know what happened either. Su Yun raised his hand and looked at it, his face full of confusion and bewilderment. I don't know why, but I realized that although my strength has increased by a lot recently, it is very strenuous to activate the profound strength, and I feel that my strength is not as good as my heart. Maybe it's because you've been training too much. I believe you'll be fine after some time. Huayro Muyu said softly. Quickly prepare. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign is about to arrive. We have to move quickly. Yes. Su Yun nodded. Huayro Muyu sent a signal to the entrance, and the 3,000 spirit cultivators immediately entered the half-moon lake, and under Huayro Muyu's arrangements, they once again concealed themselves. As for Su Yun, Hu Qianmei, and Huayro Muyu, they were waiting by the lake. Time passed slowly. After waiting for half a day, the tranquility of the lakeside was broken by a strange gust of wind. The wind only blew for a short time. It only lasted for a few breaths of time before it stopped. Sensing these subtle changes, the three of them knew that the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign had already arrived at the half-moon lake. Su Yun held onto the death sword, his gaze fixated on his surroundings, his face full of vigilance. After an unknown period of time, it's about time. Huayro Muyu suddenly spoke. Is he here? Su Yun asked. Huayro Muyu did not say anything, and only looked towards the horizon. A large number of dark clouds floated over from the distant sky. The clouds and mist in all directions were dense and oppressive. They seemed to have been attracted by something and gathered over. The sky darkened, as if a storm was about to arrive. Su Yun stared at the distant sky and bellowed. Since you're here, don't hide anymore. Come out early and settle the grudge between us. As the voice rang out, the thick dark clouds in the sky gradually swirled, forming a cloud that connected the earth. When the cloud touched the earth, it immediately dispersed. Then, a purple-robed, white-haired man walked out from within. With his hands behind his back, his long and narrow eyes revealed a trace of undetectable complacency and disdain. With a smile on his face, he walked towards Su Yun step by step. You knew I was back. How can I not know? Su Yun pointed at Huayro Muyu. Do you think she will really betray me and rely on you? You're wrong. She won't do that at all, because from the beginning to the end, Beiyang has always been hers. She has already told me everything. Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, you want to collude with her to harm me. But unfortunately, you've made a mistake. With that said, Suya nodded at Huai Romuyu, who immediately shouted out. So, a large number of spirit cultivators immediately rushed out from all directions and surrounded them. Every one of them took out their magic treasure and activated their profound strength, surrounding the lone Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, tightly, making it impossible for them to escape. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, looked left and right, and the corner of his mouth curled up. So many people? What? You don't want to fight me one-on-one and make a proper conclusion? I'm not interested for the time being. Su Yun said, since you're here, I will naturally not let you leave so easily. Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, today is the day of your death. With that, Su Yun pulled out the death sword from his back, pointed it at the sky, and activated the profound strength, planning to activate the profound array at the bottom of the half-moon lake to deal with the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. However, the moment the sword was unsheathed, Su Yun did not use much profound qi, but instead his face turned pale and his strength dropped by a lot. Even the hand holding the sword trembled, and the death sword fell from the sky, fiercely smashing onto the ground. What's going on, my strength? Su Yun opened his eyes wide. He raised his trembling hand and said in fear, Ha ha ha! Seeing that, the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, laughed out loud. Su Yun, do you think everything is as you think? In fact, Huai Romuyu has truly pledged her allegiance to me. The reason she told you was to gain your trust. Do you feel that your entire body is out of strength, and you can't even use the profound strength? Do you feel that your body is getting weaker and weaker? Ha ha! You should take a look at your cultivation. Right now, in my eyes, you're no different from an ant. Ha ha! The complacent laughter rippled unbridledly. Hearing that, Su Yun's face changed. He anxiously looked inside, and a moment later, as if he had lost his soul, he sat on the ground. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and quickly took out a sachet from the space bag. Muyu, you really, did you betray me? Su Yun opened his eyes wide, looked at Huai Romuyu blankly, and muttered, I'm sorry, Su Yun, I don't want to die. Huai Romuyu said in a low voice, then retreated a few steps. The surrounding spirit cultivators suddenly turned their spears and aimed at Su Yun. Su Yun was petrified. He stared blankly at the changes in his surroundings. He saw that everyone's spear tips were aimed at him. Seeing Hu Qianmei, who was usually obedient to him, slowly walked to Huai Romuyu's side. He saw the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, take out a sharp dagger and walk towards him step by step. The situation suddenly reversed. The ups and downs were simply unacceptable. Was this life? Su Yun looked at everything in shock. The current situation was completely different from what he had imagined. Seeing Su Yun's current expression, the smile on the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign's face became even more comfortable. It had been a long time since he had felt so happy. The crowd automatically split apart, allowing the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, to walk past. Su Yun retreated a few steps, holding onto the death sword tightly. Suddenly, he raised his sword and slashed at the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, who was more than 10 meters away, did not move at all. When the sword blade fell, it did not release any sword qi, nor did it release any profound qi, and just landed on the ground calmly. What's going on? Why is the profound qi in my body? It can't be released. Su Yun's eyes were wide open like a cow's. Ah, Su Yun, don't you know? The sachet that Huai Romuyu gave you is not to increase your cultivation, but to continuously absorb your cultivation. The current you is probably only at the spirit novice disciple. You don't have much strength left, haha. The Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, laughed out loud, his eyes filled with ridicule. Hearing that, Su Yun anxiously threw away the sachet. He could not help but retreat. His face started to change into a terrified expression. looking at the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, walking over step by step. It was as if he was scared out of his wits. Finally, the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, stood in front of him. He had no way out. A hand rested on his shoulder. Su-Yun, actually, I don't have much hatred for you. The Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, stroked the messy hair under Su-Yun's hood and laughed softly. At our level of cultivation, enmity is no longer able to control us. How can I bear a grudge against you just because of that little matter of yours? You have to know, behind you is the true devil sect, the Wanhua realm, and the sword ancestor. How can I casually offend you? So, I actually don't want to kill you. Then don't kill me, okay? That's fine, but you have to give me something. What is it? Su-Yun immediately asked. Naturally, it's the limitless sword arts that the sword ancestor passed down to you. The Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, laughed. Limitless sword arts? Su-Yun was startled and said, such a third-rate sword art, you. How can you take a fancy to it? Third-rate? The Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, stared and immediately laughed out loud. Su-Yun, you really don't know how lucky you are. This limitless sword arts that helped the sword ancestor to fight all over the heavens actually became a third rate in your mouth. Ha ha ha. Foolish. How foolish. If you step into the spirit sage realm, you will know how terrifying this limitless sword arts is. Right now, you don't even know anything. Spirit sage. Su-Yun muttered. All right, hand over the limitless sword arts to me. As long as you hand it over, I guarantee that I won't kill you. The Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, laughed softly. Su-Yun looked at him blankly, his expression a little foolish, but at this moment, his foolishness suddenly turned into a strong killing intent. Killing intent? The corner of Su-Yun's mouth curled up strangely, revealing a sinister smile. How can this be? Isn't it a waste for me to hand over the limitless sword arts to you? To hand over such a good sword technique to a dead person? If the sword ancestor were to find out, wouldn't he say that I am wasting a heavenly gift? Seeing that, the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign's heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly felt that something was wrong. Chapter 743. Su-Yun's changes made the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, extremely uneasy. He immediately raised his hand and patted Su-Yun's chest, the dense, profound strength intending to kill the person in front of him. However, when his palm landed on his chest, it was like cotton hitting a steel plate. There was no reaction. Not only that, the dense, profound strength on his palm actually disappeared without a trace, like a stone sinking into the ocean. Huh? The Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, turned pale with fright. Before he could even react, a sharp sword suddenly pierced through his back. The sword tip directly pierced through his heart and passed under Su-Yun's armpit. This was the death sword that had slipped from Su-Yun's hand earlier. Your cultivation. The Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, stared at Su-Yun while trembling, blood flowing out of his mouth, and said hoarsely, Your cultivation? You did not lose it? Of course. What Huayra Muyu gave me was just a fake sachet. She never betrayed me from start to finish. All of this is just a scam. Su-Yun said sinisterly. He immediately grabbed the edge of the death sword and raised it up. The sharp blade cut open the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign's body, directly cutting it from his heart to his head, cutting it in half. Previously, when the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, was close to him, Su-Yun had temporarily retracted the divine power of the imperial battle robe. When he got close to him, he would find an opportunity to immediately activate his divine power and absorb a large amount of profound strength from the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign. Without the protection of the profound strength, his own body would not be able to contend against the sharp death sword. Only in this way would he be able to quickly kill the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign. He pulled out the death sword and fiercely slashed at the corpse of the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, cutting it into pieces. His heart was directly smashed into pieces, and he could not be any more dead. Such a sudden change caused Huayra Muyu, Hu Qianmei, and the other spirit cultivatoress who were in the distance to be completely shocked. An existence of the spirit emperor died. Just like that? Wasn't this too fast? The strength of the spirit emperor's body was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Even if it was the existence of the spirit sage, it would be impossible to kill the other party in such a short period of time. At this moment, Hu Qianmei and Huairou Muyu were the most shocked. In their opinion, even if Su Yun could defeat the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign, he would definitely not be able to win easily, and the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign only needed a thought to kill the two of them. In order to not implicate Su Yun, they would choose to anger the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign and let him end his life earlier. However, Su Yun had taken care of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign in such a short period of time and did not even give him the chance to make a move. Hu Qianmei's eyes were filled with tears. Huairou Muyu's face was also filled with complicated emotions. The two girls quickly walked towards Su Yun. "Big brother," Hu Qianmei could not help but exclaim. "Remember, don't lie to me in the future. If anything happens, I will bear it with you. Do you understand?" Su Yun stared at the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's body and said solemnly. Hu Qianmei was startled, then lowered his head. "You already know? Earlier, after I bought the fruits, I eavesdropped on your conversation. Your actions are too abnormal. How can I be at ease?" Su Yun said solemnly, "But we cannot let our guard down yet. The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign's body has only been destroyed by me. His soul has not come out from his body yet. If we do not cut off his soul, the two of you will still be in danger." With that said, Su Yun took out the Tribulation Fire Sword from the sword sheath and aimed at the broken corpse. The high temperature roasted the ground until it turned red, and the water in the half-moon lake was instantly evaporated. However, the corpse of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign suddenly released waves of green light. When the Tribulation Fire Sword struck, it dyed the green light red, but it was extremely difficult to melt it. Seeing the green light, Huairou Muyu cried out involuntarily. "Source energy? How is this possible? The body of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign has been destroyed, leaving only his soul. How can he still use his source energy?" This old fox had placed a soul-stabilizing magic treasure on his soul beforehand, and stored a portion of his power in this soul-stabilizing magic treasure. As long as the profound strength in this soul-stabilizing magic treasure has not been completely used up, his soul can use this power to activate the source energy of his body. Su Yun said coldly, "But don't worry, he won't be able to hold on for long." With that, he suddenly shouted, and the imperial battle robe on his body instantly released a strong golden light. He was like a god descending to the mortal world. Golden light suddenly appeared and crazily pierced towards the corpse of the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign. The profound strength of the soul, stabilizing magic treasure on his soul, was instantly crippled, and his body instantly turned into ashes, disappearing without a trace. The soul of the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, left his body and flew out, immediately wanting to escape. Everyone could see that he was panicking and frightened. How could Su Yun let him leave just like that? With a leap, the Tribulation Fire Sword released 100,000 feet of white flames that connected to the sky, immediately devouring the soul without a trace. The master of the Eastern Emperor Island, the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign, had fallen just like that. A supreme expert whose name resounded through several realms had died just like that. It truly made people sigh endlessly. Amongst the 3,000 spirit cultivator, there was no lack of people who had heard of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign. Towards this existence, they were both respectful and fearful. If not for Huairou Muyu's heavy gold, they would not have come here at all. Of course, it was impossible to become enemies with him, because Huairou Muyu had promised that once they started a war with the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign, they could escape on their own, which was why they were willing to follow. Even though they said that, they did not know that Huairou Muyu had lured them over to attract the attention of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign, because once Huairou Muyu betrayed them, the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign would only treat them as enemies. Once the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign dies, the effects of the pills on your bodies should be gone, right? Su Yun exhaled. Hu Qianmei ran over and threw herself into Su Yun's embrace, hugging him tightly. She was extremely excited, not only because Su Yun had saved her, but because she understood her position in Su Yun's heart. I can wait until that day. Hu Qianmei raised her head and smiled mischievously. Su Yun scratched her nose, his face full of smiles. The crisis had finally been resolved. Master! At this moment, an angry roar came from the horizon. Su Yun and the rest looked towards the direction of the voice, only to see a large group of spirit cultivator appearing at the horizon. All of them were dressed uniformly, all of them wielding swords and blades. The profound chi was dense, as though it could cover the sky. They stood on top of the clouds, looking down from above, and when they saw the soul of the Eastern Emperor, heavenly sovereign, gradually dissipating within the flames, a young man in a white robe with hair hanging down to his waist was immediately enraged. His hand that was holding onto the sword trembled, his lips trembled, and in the end his gaze focused on Su Yun. You are Su Yun. Who are you? Su Yun asked. Who I am is not important. What's important is that you will regret it. The man gritted his teeth and said. Then he raised his hand with his palm facing upwards. He closed his eyes and chanted something. Silver threads of light quickly rose from his palm. These silver threads were actually overflowing with life and were extremely exquisite. From afar, they gave off the feeling that they were looking at a world of grandeur. What kind of feeling was this? What exactly was this? However, this person's next sentence was like a bolt from the blue, striking Su Yun's head. Su Yun, do you think you've won? Big mistake. You've lost. You've lost miserably. You will lose miserably. The man roared at the top of his lungs, then raised his other hand and fiercely slashed at the light threads with his sword. Crack! All the threads of light shattered. Just then, Huaro Muyu, who was at the side, suddenly spat out a mouthful of red blood. Su Yun's body trembled. He turned to look, only to see that the corner of Huaro Muyu's mouth was red. It was covered in blood. She had already closed her eyes and fell to the ground. Muyu! Su Yun roared miserably. He ran over to help her up, only to feel that there was not a single trace of life in her body. He could not even feel his soul. Only his empty body was left. Not only her, even among the 3,000 spirit cultivator, close to half of them had fallen and died, their souls dissipating. What's going on? Hu Qianmei panicked. She looked around, then suddenly turned to look at the people in the sky and shouted, What did you do? Su Yun, you didn't expect this, right? Just in case, Master specially separated half of the soul lock from the main city from his body and handed them over to me. He was worried that Huaro Muyu's betrayal was fake, so he did this. He had already said that if anything happened to him, he would not let you guys have a good time. Now, half of the people in the main city are dead, and this is just an interest for you to harm my master. The man raised the sword high and roared. Now, it's time for you to pay with your lives for my master. Kill. With that, the people of the Eastern Emperor Island rushed over like a waterfall. The crowd was huge, and upon closer inspection, there were more than 10,000 people. However, the current Su Yun had long since gone crazy. He suddenly raised his bloodshot eyes. The devil chi around his body was like a sand mist, surging out from his body. The hand that was holding onto the death sword trembled violently. A large number of veins and blood vessels popped out from his arm. I want your lives? Su Yun placed Huaro Muyu down and roared out loud. He raised his sword and rushed forward. Like a gust of wind, he soared into the sky. The violent devil chi was like tentacles, knocking away all the people who were near him. Su Yun's sword was like a death god's scythe, crazily harvesting the lives of the spirit cultivator-s. One after another, their bodies shattered and fell down. The people below could only see a large amount of corpses and blood rain falling from the sky. The scene was extremely shocking. These people seemed to have a lot of people, but their cultivations were not high. Su Yun was wearing the imperial battle robe. The millions of spirit cultivator-s in the sword world could not do anything to him. How could these people contend against him? Su Yun's eyes were red from killing. He was like a mad tiger, killing everywhere. Sword images appeared. The people of the Eastern Emperor Island were immediately killed. Their formation was in chaos. Speed, aura, brute force, profound strength. They were all more than a level lower than Su Yun. Don't panic. Activate the formation. Set up the formation. The eldest disciple of the Eastern Emperor, Heavenly Sovereign, anxiously shouted. He had wrongly estimated Su Yun's strength and thought that he and the others were enough to eliminate Su Yun. But the reality was so cruel. Su Yun's strength had exceeded his imagination. Hearing the eldest senior brother's words, everyone hurriedly moved. But just then, Su Yun activated the profound strength. The surrounding profound chi was like water being sucked into a whirlpool, crazily rushing towards Su Yun. Following that, all the vegetation in the half-moon lake became restless. They trembled crazily, swayed crazily. Rocks rolled, trees swayed, birds gathered, and hundreds of beasts rushed over. What's going on? The people in the sky and the people on the ground were all panicking. They looked around in fear. However, he saw that everything around him had come to an abrupt halt. Suddenly, everything quieted down. Following that, all the things in the world rose up into the air, and like iron attracted by a magnet, they suddenly flew over. Sort of all spirits. Hu Qianmei stared blankly at the grand scene, only to see the 10,000 swords attacking towards Su Yun, and in less than a breath of time, they had pierced through all the spirit cultivators around Su Yun. The eldest senior brother stared at Su Yun, who was in the middle of the crowd, and slowly lowered his head to look, only to see that his chest had been pierced through by several chi swords, revealing a few transparent holes. The chi meridian had been severed, and even his heart had been pierced. His strength and consciousness were like the receding tide, quickly dissipating. That person shouted with great difficulty, but before he could finish speaking, his body fell down and fell to the ground. Walla nearly 10,000 people landed on the ground like sand, piling up a mountain of human flesh on the ground. Run, run. When the spirit cultivator asked that Huayro Miyu saw this scene, how could they dare to stay any longer? They hurriedly turned around and fled, disappearing in the blink of an eye. These people were completely scared out of their wits by the current Su Yun. The temperament that they had cultivated for many years was completely useless. Not to mention these people, even the current Hu Qianmei was trembling with fear. She looked at the person who fell from the sky. At this moment, his entire body was covered in blood. Although his entire body was filled with hostility, Hu Qianmei could feel the pain in his heart. Chapter 744. Su Yun walked towards Huayro Muyu's corpse step by step. His hands were trembling, and after hugging her corpse, he realized that the young girl's corpse was extremely cold. Big brother. Hu Qianmei opened her mouth, wanting to comfort Su Yun, but when the words reached her throat, she was unable to say them. She did not know how to comfort Su Yun. Perhaps, at this time, what Su Yun needed was not words of comfort. He hugged Huayro Muyu's corpse tightly, but did not say a word. He only buried his head in her pitch-black hair. His fists were clenched tighter and tighter. The soul lock was cut off, and the effects of the pill in Huayro Muyu's body exploded. Her soul suddenly dispersed, and she completely disappeared from this world. Perhaps, other than this empty shell, she did not exist at all. Ling Qingyu, who was inside the sword sheath, naturally saw everything that had happened outside. Su Yun's mania had woken her up, but she could not do anything and could only watch silently. Mayor. Just then, Su Yun raised his head and looked sadly at Huayro Muyu's pale face and said hoarsely, "Big brother, Mayor is here." Hu Qianmei immediately sat beside him and asked with concern. Su Yun gently placed Huayro Muyu on the ground, looked at her, and said softly, "Mayor, bring Muyu's corpse back. Wait for me to return from Eastern Imperial Island." Eastern Imperial Island? Hu Qianmei was startled. He suddenly thought of something and asked in shock, "Big brother, what are you doing?" "Of course it's to avenge Muyu." He suddenly roared, raised his sword, and struck towards the mountain of corpses. The ruthless chi that burst out from the sword tip was like rotten wood, tearing the corpses of the Eastern Imperial Island people into pieces. A cloud of blood mist floated by the side of the half-moon lake. The ruthless chi collided with the mountain in the distance, shaking the entire mountain and lake. Hu Qianmei's face paled. At the moment, the anger in Su Yun's heart was about to burn his internal organs, but he had been suppressing it the entire time. He felt that he could no longer suppress it, and the only thing he could do was to destroy the Eastern Imperial Island to vent the anger in his heart. However, no one knew what a person who had lost his mind would do. Hu Qianmei understood that if he continued to let Su Yun continue, it would only lead him to destruction. Immediately, Hu Qianmei rushed forward without a care for anything else and hugged him tightly. Her white and tender hands immediately grabbed onto Su Yun's hand that was holding onto the sword. "No, you can't go." Hu Qianmei clenched her teeth and muttered, "I have to go." Su Yun's voice became fierce. Hu Qianmei looked at him, only to see his blood-red eyes becoming even crazier, and immediately shouted, "Big brother, what you need to do now is not to take revenge, but to quickly think of a way to revive Mu Yu." "Resurrection? How can I revive?" Su Yun let out a beast-like roar. "My soul is gone. How can I revive?" "Calm down." Hu Qianmei grabbed onto Su Yun's arm tightly and shouted anxiously, "In all the 10,000 worlds, what is there that doesn't exist? You don't know how many magic treasure there are. Big brother, can you be sure that there are no magic treasure that can revive Mu Yu? The Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign is already dead, and the Eastern Emperor Island is just a pile of loose sand. If you go and kill them, it will be useless. What you need to do now is to quickly revive Mu Yu, and think of a way to revive her." The more Hu Qianmei spoke, the more excited she became, but she knew in her heart that the reason she said that was only to stabilize Su Yun. However, with that said, Su Yun's entire body seemed to have convulsed. He trembled a few times, and the fanaticism in his eyes suddenly decreased by a lot. Seeing that, Hu Qianmei was startled. "That's right, Mei, you're right," Su Yun muttered, as if he had lost his soul. "Big brother, what's wrong with you? Are you all right?" Hu Qianmei said blankly, then panicked. "Big brother, don't scare me, are you all right?" "I'm fine." Su Yun suddenly regained his senses and said to Hu Qianmei, "Mei, quickly bring Mu Yu back. I'll be right back." With that, he turned around and flew into the sky, instantly disappearing into the distance. "Big brother," Hu Qianmei shouted 3 times, but Su Yun had already walked far away. After leaving the Beiyang, Su Yun did not fly around like a headless fly, but instead rushed straight towards the Wanhua realm. Hu Qianmei was right. The myriad heavens realm was so big. There were many divine objects. Magic treasures were endless. There were all kinds of magic treasures. It was not impossible to reunite a person's soul and revive them. However, the myriad heavens realm was so big, many people might not even have heard of such a treasure, so Su Yun could only find someone first. As long as that person could provide information, then Huairou Mu Yu would be able to return. After entering the Wanhua realm, Su Yun did not even bother with the realm master, nor did he look at Sword Ancestor. He flew all the way towards the dark place, causing the people of Realm Tree to be baffled. After entering the dark place, he rushed towards the familiar river. "Old man! Old man!" Su Yun stood by the river and shouted loudly. "I'm here." An old voice came from not far away. Su Yun looked over, only to see a few spirit cultivator surrounding the old man and asking him questions. It seemed like they were making a deal. Su Yun walked over in a few steps, pushed them away, and said anxiously, "Old man, I want to ask you something." Seeing that, the old man was a little dissatisfied, while the spirit cultivator-s were even more angry, and said angrily, "Hey, fellow cultivator, do you have any morals? Don't you know first come, first served? Hurry up and go away." However, just as he finished speaking, Su Yun pulled out his sword and slashed to the side. Boom! The vast, profound chi was like a surging flood, rushing out from his sword blade and smashing onto the ground. A 10-meter wide, bottomless abyss appeared on the ground. Sword chi rippled, profound chi splashed everywhere. Terrifying energy lingered in the air, causing the entire dark place to tremble. Seeing that, the few spirit cultivator-s were immediately dumbfounded. "Go away," Su Yun bellowed. Hearing that, the few of them trembled and ran. How would they dare to offend Su Yun? Hey, don't go. Don't go. You haven't paid yet. Don't go. When the old man saw this, he immediately became anxious and hurriedly shouted for them to stop. However, these people were like wild horses that had escaped from their reins, unable to catch up. Seeing that, the old man turned his head and glared at Su Yun. Stinking brat. What are you doing? Do you know that you've ruined 2 of my big businesses? I will compensate you for all of this. Su Yun took out the profound coin card from his bosom and handed it over to the old man. As long as you meet my requirements, these are all yours. It's all yours. The old man took the card and looked at it a few times. His old face revealed a look of surprise. He looked at Su Yun and said, "What a big deal. Seems like the matter you want to ask this time is not a small matter. Please tell me." Fine. The old man kept the profound coin card and laughed. Speak. What do you want to know? This old man will definitely tell you everything he knows. You definitely know. Su Yun anxiously said, "Please tell me. How can I revive a person whose soul has already dissipated?" What? Hearing that, the old man's sunken eyes widened. After a long while, he said, "I think you're crazy, right? A person's soul is gone, and you still want to revive? I don't know about this. You should leave." Old man, please tell me. Su Yun anxiously grabbed the old man's arm and shouted, "I know you will definitely know. The 10,000 worlds. There are all sorts of strange things, old man. You have a divine technique. You must know how to revive a person whose soul has dissipated, right? Hey, kid, you're making things too difficult." The old man's face was full of helplessness. The soul has already dissipated. Even the great firmament, golden immortal, can't save it. What do you want me to tell you? Is there no magic treasure or spirit item to save me? I've never heard of any treasure with such an effect, the old man said. As these words fell, it was like a sledgehammer, ruthlessly smashing Su Yun's heart that had just been revived. If even this old man didn't know, then no, there must be a way. There must be a way. Su Yun clenched his fists tightly, but his lips were extremely pale and even started to tremble. Although he had cultivated his temperament in the true devil sect, the death of Huayro Muyu had evoked the inner demons of Su Qing'er's death in his previous life, and the current him was in an extremely chaotic state of mind. Oh, that's right. There seems to be a treasure that can reunite a person's soul and revive them. At this moment, the old man suddenly thought of something and clapped his hands. As soon as he finished speaking, a large hand suddenly grabbed his collar and lifted him up. The old man was stunned. He met Su Yun's eyes that had once again become burning hot. Old man, what did you just say? There was a magic treasure that could bring people back to life? What magic treasure was it? Hurry up and say it. What magic treasure is this? Su Yun called out anxiously. His expression was extremely excited. One of his hands almost tore the old man's clothes apart. Put me down first. Hey, put me down first, the old man shouted anxiously. Su Yun was startled for a moment, then regained his senses and anxiously let go. The old man sat on the ground, coughed twice, and glared at Su Yun. You brat, you're too reckless. Can you wait for me to finish? I'm sorry. Old man, please tell me first, what kind of magic treasure can save people? It's very urgent. Wait now. Su Yun immediately said. Don't be anxious. Actually, I just remembered this magic treasure because in the past, there was a spirit cultivator like you who asked me if there was any magic treasure in this world that could reunite a person's soul and revive them. So I used a technique to check. I remember that there was indeed such a magic treasure. I forgot what it was called, but I remember that it was in the Supreme Sect. Don't be anxious. I'll use a technique to find it for you now. After the old man finished speaking, he crouched down and placed the skull staff in his hand on the ground. Chapter 745. Su Yun stood at the side, staring at the old man, casting his technique with a serious expression. Every action seemed to be able to pull at Su Yun's heart. The incantations of the gods came out from his shriveled lips, causing people to be distracted. After an unknown period of time, the old man finished casting his spell and stood up. How is it? Su Yun asked immediately. There's news. The old man wiped the sweat off his face, panting slightly, his face pale. I have an impression of this item. I just calculated according to its name. I know its whereabouts. This treasure is called the heaven-returning mirror. It is said that it is a treasure passed down by the ancient gods. It contains divine power. It can draw out the power of reincarnation. It can bring people back to life. But this thing is in the hands of the Supreme Sect people, so is not easy to obtain. The way of the Supreme One is extremely dangerous. The number of ignorant people is unknown, and even more people die miserably while cultivating the way of the Supreme One. I think this heaven-returning mirror is most likely in the hands of the sect leader of the Supreme Sect. He also cultivates the Supreme Divine Tao. Maybe this heaven-returning mirror was prepared by him. The old man said. Hearing that, Su Yun did not say a word. The old man looked at Su Yun's face and saw that he had his head lowered. As though he was thinking about something, his heart skipped a beat, and he immediately said, Brat, don't act recklessly. From ancient times until now, no one has dared to steal Supreme Sect's things. Don't throw your life away just to save him. Senior, do you have any good suggestions? Don't think too much about it. That's the best advice I can give you. Senior, you're mistaken. I'm asking you, how can I obtain the heaven-returning mirror from the Supreme Sect hands? So you've already made up your mind? The old man was startled. Looking at this kid's attitude, it seemed like he did not even consider retrieving the heaven mirror. Since there's this chance, you want me to give it up without even trying? Sigh, what a stubborn brain. The old man was helpless. He shook his head and sighed. Forget it. Since you've done so much business for me, I'll calculate it for you for free. After saying that, the old man squatted down again, hugged the skull, and touched it. This time, the casting time was not long, but after a while, he raised his head and shook it. There is nothing that can help you. The only thing that can help you fight against the Supreme Sect is the clear sky holy robe. You have to think of a way to seize the clear sky holy robe first. I already have the clear sky holy robe. Just then, Su Yun suddenly said. When the old man heard this, his entire body trembled. He hurriedly took a few steps back and carefully sized up Su Yun. What skill? The old man sighed. I never thought that a divine object like the clear sky holy robe would be obtained by you. You're really capable, kid. Su Yun did not say a word. The old man nodded his head and said, Now that you have obtained the clear sky holy robe, you don't have to worry so much. If you really want to save someone, then go. There's no other way to help you take back the heaven-returning mirror. But there's one thing I must remind you. Although you have obtained the clear sky holy robe, it is not a bargaining chip that allows you to win against the Supreme Sect. Its use is only to give you the qualifications to challenge the Supreme Sect. That's all, understand? Do not place all your hopes on the clear sky holy robe. In front of the entire Supreme Sect, it is impossible for it to protect you completely. Thank you for your warning, Senior. Su Yun cupped his fists. All right, I don't have any more information to tell you. You can leave now. The old man waved his hand, turned around, and left. Of course, Su Yun did not hesitate and turned to leave the dark place. Since the Supreme Sect leader had the heaven-returning mirror to revive Huayro Muyu, then, no matter what, he had to obtain it. Whether it was his sister, his parents, the true devil sect, or Huayro Muyu, all of their spearheads were aimed at the Supreme Sect. At this moment, Su Yun already understood that there was a grudge between him and the Supreme Sect that had to be settled. Before this grudge ended, the relationship between him and the Supreme Sect would never be peaceful. After returning to the Beiyang, he told Hu Qianmei to take good care of Huayro Muyu's corpse, while Su Yun headed towards the true devil sect alone. The conflict between the true devil sect and the Supreme Sect had already spread throughout the myriad heavens realm, and even the majority of the people in the Beiyang were discussing about it. However, what happened in the Huayro main city had attracted everyone's attention, and the news of the Eastern Emperor Heavenly Sovereign being killed by Su Yun quickly spread as well. In an instant, the various Chamber of Commerce were even more respectful towards this mysterious alliance leader. The news of Huayro Muyu's death was deliberately suppressed by Hu Qianmei. She only informed the people of the Huayro family and handed over the matter of the Beiyang Merchant Guild to the Huayro family to handle. After all, the Beiyang market was not a small place. When the people of the Huayro family saw the ice-cold Huayro Muyu, they all wept bitterly. They were extremely sad. Huayromu Yu was a rare genius of the Huayro family. Her death could be said to be an immeasurable loss to the Huayro family. However, since things had already come to this, there was nothing anyone could do. After all, she had died in the hands of the Eastern Emperor Sky Sovereign. How could the Huayro family contend against the Eastern Emperor Island? In the True Devil sect, Su Yun quickly stepped into the sect. It was still cold and cheerless inside, with only a few devil cultivators. Bitter iron, Xing Ming, Xing Ming. Su Yun walked over and shouted. The voice spread out, and very quickly, 2 devil cultivators appeared in front of Su Yun. These 2 devil cultivators were the True Devil sect's Mountain Gate demon guards, Ku Tai and Xing Ming. Greetings, Lord Demon King. What about the vice sect leader? Su Yun asked. He hasn't returned yet. Where are the elders and the others? They also left with the vice sect leader. None of them. Then take me to see the sect leader. Lord Demon Lord, the sect leader is in closed-door cultivation. During closed-door cultivation, no one will be able to see the sect leader, including the vice sect leader. Then is there no one in the True Devil sect who can speak? Su Yun was angry. Yes. Boo, you. Get out and guard the mountain. Su Yun was angry. This subordinate will take his leave. Xing Ming and Ku Tai ran away like a wisp of smoke. He was speechless. Su Yun shook his head, turned, and walked towards the palace. But not long after, Ku Tai and Xing Ming came again. Lord Demon Lord, what's wrong now? Su Yun was rather impatient. The 2 of them said in unison, the vice sect leader is back. Hearing that, Su Yun's expression immediately became serious. A large mass of dark clouds floated over from the horizon. Following that, countless devil cultivators rushed over, and the one flying at the front was the great clan elder, the Round Demon. Haha, Lord Demon Lord, when did you return to the sect? I haven't seen you in a long time. I miss you so much. Octagon Aniseed came out from the crowd. Seeing Su Yun, he immediately waved and shouted. When the group of people landed on the ground, the various great demon guards arranged for the devil cultivator to leave, while Su Yun and the other elders walked into the white bone pavilion in the center. Su Yun asked about the whereabouts of Chi and the rest, and Chi did not hide anything, and immediately told them everything that had happened in the True Devil sect during this period of time. It turned out that the Supreme sect was getting closer and closer. The True Devil sect was in danger, so Chi brought the experts of the True Devil sect to find help. However, this wasn't an ordinary request for help. Instead, it was a different way to ask for help. The Supreme sect was famous, and no one in the myriad heavens realm was not afraid of him. The True Devil sect directly came to ask for help, but no one was willing to help. After all, once they agreed to the True Devil sect, they would become enemies with the Supreme sect. Helpless, Octagon Aniseed could only pretend to be Supreme sect people to attack those sects, create conflicts, and force them to become enemies with the Supreme sect. This way, the True Devil sect would have a large amount of external help. However, not all sects were successfully provoked, and some sects were suspicious. However, time was of the essence, and Octagon Aniseed could no longer care so much. In the past few days, through everyone's unremitting efforts, there are already 37 people in charge of various forces of all sizes who have contacted the 7th clan elder, Ju Mo. Everyone wants to use the True Devil sect as the leader to fight against the Supreme sect together. Other than that, there are also many rogue cultivator experts who hate the Supreme sect who came to help. However, because of the special conditions of the True Devil sect's encampment, they were arranged to stay on a lonely mountain not far away. Right now, it's time to clear it up. Once it's cleared up and provoked, then the Supreme sect will definitely be destroyed, and we will definitely win. The 2 demons and the other elders spoke up, and a trace of excitement appeared on everyone's faces. Everyone has worked hard. Octagon Aniseed laughed. Our efforts these past few days have not been in vain. We have already gathered so much power. Our True Devil sect can completely fight with the people of the Supreme sect, but we do not know where the Supreme sect is currently. Elder Aramo, have the people of the Supreme sect left the realm? They left 5 days ago and gathered right outside the Supreme Gate. Once everyone is here, they will prepare to cross over. Our people have estimated that the Supreme Sect will probably send no less than 500,000 spirit cultivators to deal with the true devil sect this time. The two devils said in a deep voice. 500,000? Not much, but they are much weaker in terms of numbers. The one who spoke was a devil cultivator whose skin was the color of stone. He was tall and sturdy, and his voice was also rough. He was the 8th clan elder of the true devil sect, the Rock Demon. When the true devil sect was in danger, all the deacon elders outside were summoned back. At this moment, the pavilion was filled with people. 500,000 is indeed not a lot, but none of these people are new to the Supreme Sect. The two demons said in a deep voice, "In order to deal with us, the members sent by the Supreme Sect are all existences who have been in the sect for at least 10 years. Their faith and worship towards the Supreme Sect has already reached a rather high level, and their limitless profound chi has also reached a small success. Their strength is definitely not simple." Adding that everyone is not afraid of death, these 500,000 people, I'm afraid it will not be easy to deal with them. Furthermore, these 500,000 people do not represent the entire strength of the Supreme Sect. There are many experts in the Supreme Sect, and just a holy maiden is enough to give us a headache, not to mention the legendary experts like the Supreme Seven Sons and the Supreme Guard. If all of these people were to come out, then what should our true devil sect do to resist? At this time, the great elder, the round demon, spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the entire hall fell silent. Chapter 746. No one dared to underestimate the Supreme Sect. As a sect that had more enemies than disciples, there was naturally a reason why it was able to stand tall for so many years. And the main reason why countless people were in awe of it was because its members, its believers, were all a bunch of complete lunatics. As long as the Supreme Sect leader said a word, all the people of the Supreme Sect would be able to do anything. Even if they died immediately, they would definitely obey, because they only believed in the Supreme Great Way, only believed in the Supreme Divine Tao, and the sect leader of the Supreme Sect represented the Supreme Divine Tao. The power of the Supreme Sect is naturally not limited to just these 500,000, and these 500,000 are just an empty number. The number of people they sent to deal with our true devil sect might be even more, but you don't need to guess. The other powers of the Supreme Sect are not used because they're arrogant and look down on our true devil sect, but because they still have to deal with those potential enemies. The grudge between our true devil sect and the Supreme Sect has already been made known to the entire world, and many people have adopted a wait-and-see attitude, either attacking the true devil sect or the Supreme Sect during the battle. The Supreme Sect does not dare to take the risk, so they have to leave behind enough power to guard their lair, in case someone stabs them in the back and takes over their lair. He placed his hands behind his head and sat on a chair with his legs crossed, looking very relaxed and content. Hearing that, the rock demon immediately became anxious. "Vice Sect Leader, according to what you said, doesn't that mean that there are people watching us? That won't do. If those bastards dare to have any ideas about us, we definitely won't let them go. I want to eat their souls. Destroy their power. Let them know that our true devil sect is not easy to bully." Elder Rock Demon is too serious. Octagon Aniseed laughed. "But you're right about one thing. There are indeed people who will have ideas about our true devil sect. Maybe it can be said that the people who have ideas about the Supreme Sect will also have ideas about the true devil sect. And the people who have ideas about the true devil sect will definitely not let the Supreme Sect go. This will depend on who wins and who loses. And who wins, then those people who are watching from the side will definitely interfere and share our benefits. Maybe if we defeat the Supreme Sect, all of the Supreme Sect's benefits will be taken away by them." Damn it! The Rock Demon was enraged. "Vice Sect Master, why don't we fight Supreme Sect later? Let's find all those bastards hiding in the dark and take care of them first." "It's useless. Firstly, you don't know who those people are, and secondly, we don't have that much energy to pay attention to them. When the time comes, we can only admit defeat and let them take some, but we don't have to worry. When has my true devil sect ever suffered a loss?" The corner of Octagon Aniseed's mouth raised into a sinister smile. After we take care of the Supreme Sect, we have plenty of time to settle the score with them. Everyone, just wait patiently." Hearing this, the rock demon's angry face finally relaxed, and it started to laugh foolishly. Vice Sect Master is right. However, the most important thing right now is to deal with the Supreme Sect, not those bystanders. Octagon Aniseed, when do you plan to make a move on the Supreme Sect? Just then, Su Yun said in a low voice, "I believe that after they enter the true Devil Realm, it will be difficult for them to move an inch. Once all the forces that we provoked gather together, we will start a counterattack, and right now, we can only defend to the death." "That's absolutely impossible." Su Yun shook his head. "You provoked those powers to deal with the Supreme Sect, but the people from the Supreme Sect, and those powers are not stupid. Once the Supreme Sect finds out about this, they only need to jump out and prove it. Even if they can't make these powers attack us, they can still make them lose their trust in us, and at that time, I'm afraid they will become outsiders or choose to leave. At that time, the situation in the true Devil Sect will be in danger. So, I suggest that we move quickly, and we cannot wait for the people from the Supreme Sect to enter the true Devil Realm, but for our true Devil Realm to enter the Supreme Realm." "You're right. I've also considered this problem." A trace of worry appeared on Octagon Aniseed's face. Then he sighed. "However, reality is so cruel. Lord, Demon Lord, I also want to fight quickly, but we don't have enough strength. The most important sect has not been taken care of yet. We can't act recklessly." "Do you mean empty?" "That's right, of course it's empty. I have investigated and felt that it is very likely that he was sent by the Supreme Sect to empty out the underground preaching. There are spies inside, and I have also allowed the inner demon and the inner demon to sneak into the empty space. My goal is to find evidence of him preaching and, at the same time, expose him. In this way, the Venerable One will know that the Supreme Sect will not let him go. At that time, we only need to send a devil cultivator who can speak well to persuade them, and they will definitely stand on the same side as us." Octagon Aniseed laughed. Hearing that, Su Yun frowned. Was he still brainwashed in the end? No matter what, he was still his parents' teacher. Could it be that he had to watch him fall like this? If it wasn't for his sister, he wouldn't have become like this. However, if he did not die, he would definitely not become enemies with the Supreme Sect, and the pressure on the true Devil Sect would be immense. The reality was cruel, and he could do nothing about it. Su Yun secretly clenched his fists, a red light flashing in his eyes. "Octagon Aniseed, what's wrong, Lord Demon Lord? Immediately send someone to my grandfather's place and ask them for help." "The grandfather of the Demon Lord? Is he referring to Shun Wu Huang? If that's the case, I think there's no need for it. The eyes and ears of the Martial Imperial Palace are much more powerful than we imagined. How could he not know about the grudge between the Supreme Sect and the real Devil Sect? If there was any support, I'm afraid someone would have already come. I didn't say that you should go find my grandfather. Although I've only met him once, I know that his temper isn't too good. Looking for him will definitely not have any effect. So if you want to find my mother, you should look for her." Su Yun said, "This is a good opportunity to deal with the Supreme Sect. My mother will not let it go. She might be able to convince my grandfather. The strength of the Martial Imperial Palace is probably countless times stronger than the emptiness. If they interfere, the Supreme Sect will meet its end." Back then, when Shun Wu Huang was emptying out the palace, he had forcefully taken away Su Xintian and Shan Shui Shui, which naturally made Su Yun think that the Martial Imperial Palace was extremely powerful. "You think Shun Wu Huang's daughter will help us?" The rock demon did not understand. "Why not?" Su Yun said. "After all, Shun Wu Huang's granddaughter is the holy maiden of the Supreme Sect. He will not stand idly by. But there's no need to say any more. Two devils, hurry up and find someone to make a trip to the Martial Imperial Palace. Regardless of whether we succeed or not, we have to at least give it a try. If the Martial Imperial Palace is truly willing to deal with the Supreme Sect, then it would be a great thing for us. A single Martial Imperial Palace is worth all the forces that we have provoked before, including emptying them. No matter what, we still have to go." At this moment, Octagon Aniseed suddenly spoke. Since the Vice Sect leader had spoken, Everyone naturally obeyed. The two devils stood up and said, "Since that's the case, I'll go arrange it right away." With that, he left. For the time being, we don't have any plans for the Martial Imperial Palace. Right now, all the sects are gathering here, and what we need to do is to integrate these people. With so many sects and powers, if we can't gather them together, then they will be like a plate of loose sand with no fighting strength to speak of. What does the Vice Sect leader plan to do? Of course, it's to brainwash them. If the Supreme Sect can brainwash them, we can do it too. Tell them what will happen if they don't defeat the people of the Supreme Sect and what our current situation is, so that they can throw away their benefits, throw away their past grudges, and sincerely join forces to fight against the enemy. Octagon Aniseed laughed. "I don't really like this kind of work, so I'll have to trouble the Great Elder." Hearing that, the round demon immediately stood up, cupped his fists, and said, "The round demon accepts the order. Rock demon, Jew demon, your mission is to supervise the sect members at the front of the defense line and arouse their demonic nature. After all, the power of the Supreme Sect is renowned throughout the realms. If the devil cultivator's demonic nature is not aroused, it will be difficult for them to contend against the faith of the people of the Supreme Sect." "Yes, Vice Sect leader," the two devil cultivator immediately shouted. Finally, it's the most difficult task. Octagon Aniseed's gaze landed on Su Yun and asked, "Lord Demon Lord, the Supreme Sect is a special sect. The disciples inside are all trapped in the Supreme Sect, unable to extricate themselves. Even if we send the devil cultivator in as spies, we will lose contact with them after a few days and be assimilated into the Supreme Sect. So, our understanding of the Supreme Sect is very limited. The Great War is imminent. We need to grasp their movements and make a strategy to deal with them. Therefore, I plan to head to the Supreme Sect to investigate the situation in the Supreme Sect. If Lord Demon Lord is willing, can you come with me?" "Sure." Su Yun agreed straightforwardly. To be honest, he wished that he could attack the Supreme Sect right now. However, although he had an impulse in his heart, his rationality told him that the time was not right. "All right then." Octagon Aniseed nodded and said, "Let's go now. Men, prepare some devil equipment and bring the demon guard here." "Yes, Vice Sect leader," a devil cultivator replied. A small meeting was held just like that. Su Yun and Octagon Aniseed made some preparations in the devil sect, then walked out of the White Bones pavilion to count the demon guard that had been summoned. The demon guard was one of the top troops in the true devil sect. They were all demon guards that guarded the sect master's cultivation grounds. All of them were powerful and mysterious. The first time Su Yun saw them, he could feel that they were not ordinary. There were a total of 9 people, but there were actually 3 spirit emperoress among them, and the captain was even more terrifying. Su Yun was completely unable to see through his cultivation, and the Eastern Emperor heavenly. Sovereign Qi was probably not inferior to him. The fact that Octagon Aniseed had pulled these existences out showed how dangerous this operation was. The 9 people in front of him were all wearing black iron armor and helmets. Their faces could not be seen. Only pairs of blood-red eyes could be seen. The devil Qi was extremely dense. They all had a blade on their waists and a sword on their backs. They were actually using dual martial arts. "How is it?" Octagon Aniseed smiled and looked at Su Yun. "Not bad." Su Yun nodded. "Then let's go." After he finished speaking, he turned around. However, just as he turned around, he saw a figure walking over at a moderate pace. Octagon Aniseed's footsteps immediately slowed down, and then a voice floated over. "Vice Sect leader Octagon Aniseed, are you going to move again?" "Hee, as a member of the Devil Sect. I think I should go with you on this mission." Chapter 747. Su Yun had only heard this voice a few times. Although it was only a few times, he had a deep impression of it. 3 Bone Dragon. Su Yun looked at the person who was walking over, and his eyes congealed. Dressed in a black robe, the 3 Bone Dragon with his hair tied up in a braid slowly walked over. His pale face revealed a smile. His eyes sized up Su Yun from time to time, and then he cupped his fists towards the 2 of them. 3 Bone Dragon, what are you doing here? Why are you running around instead of staying in your small garden?" Octagon Aniseed crossed his arms over his chest and smiled. The three-boned dragon was neither fast nor slow, and once again cupped his fists and laughed. The great enemy is coming. The true devil sect is in danger. As a member of the true devil sect, I, the three-boned dragon, am being nurtured by the sect. How can I stand by the side and watch? Therefore, I asked the sect master, hoping that I could leave the small garden during this period of time and contribute to the safety of the sect. The sect master also agreed. He hoped that I could assist the vice sect master in fighting against the supreme sect, so the three-boned dragon came to ask for orders. Oh, that's right. That's right. Octagon Aniseed clapped his hands to express his appreciation. I am really touched that you have such thoughts. How about this? We are lacking manpower right now. You can go find the round demon first. He will definitely arrange a good job for you. No. Vice sect leader, I wish to follow you. The three-boned dragon shook its head and laughed. Please let me follow you on the mission. I'm full here. Is there anyone who can say such a thing? Isn't it good to have one more person and one more force? Please do not decline, vice sect leader. The three-boned dragon was still unwilling to give up. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the smile on his face suddenly froze, and then his smile gradually disappeared. Seeing this, a strange light flashed across the three-boned dragon's eyes. What are you insisting on? Vice sect leader, I don't understand what you mean. The three-boned dragon looked puzzled. However, these words caused Octagon Aniseed to completely lose his patience. Three-boned dragon, I don't have time to waste with you. Either you go find the round demon, or scram a little further away. Although you entered the sect earlier than me, I am the vice sect master here. If you dare to play any tricks in front of me, I will definitely not show mercy. As he finished speaking, a red light flashed across his octagonal eyes. The light suddenly appeared, and the three-boned dragon's body suddenly trembled. Following that, a large amount of cold sweat uncontrollably flowed down its body, and the fear in its eyes was extremely obvious. Oomph! Octagon Aniseed ignored him and waved his hand. Then he stepped on the air and flew. Everyone followed. Suyin glanced at the three-boned dragon, who had an extremely ugly expression. Without saying a word, he flew into the air. The three-boned dragon panted lightly as it stared intently at the group of people leaving. Only after they had disappeared did it retract its gaze. 8 teeth. He gritted his teeth and muttered, his face full of resentment. The entrance to the Supreme Sect's realm had already been sealed, and the gate was guarded by a large number of Supreme Sect disciples. They gathered in front of the gate, waiting for the order to attack, waiting for the time to come. Octagon Aniseed and Su Yun flew towards the direction of the gate. This was not something that could be reached in a day or two. Just as he left the true devil sect, Su Yun could not help but ask, "Why didn't you let him in? You should also know the reason why he wants to participate in this operation. From my position as the Demon Lord, if he really wants it, then give it to him." Su Yun no longer cares about this position. Back then, he agreed to sit on the Demon Lord's seat because he wanted to borrow the power of the true devil sect to deal with the Supreme Sect. However, now that the true devil sect and the Supreme Sect are at odds, this position is not of much use. Hearing that, Octagon Aniseed could not help but shake his head. The position of the Demon Lord is not something that anyone can take. Su Yun, you must understand this point, and not let down the 2 words Demon Lord. Furthermore, whatever the three-boned dragon thought in his heart, it was simply child's play. If not for the fact that he was the sect master's beloved disciple, how could he be so impudent? Sigh, forget it. It's useless to say so much. Our operation this time is especially crucial. If he comes, I'm afraid he will have a dispute with you, so I won't agree to him participating in this operation. I'm afraid it will ruin things. Hearing that, Su Yun understood what Octagon Aniseed meant. The three-boned dragon coveted the position of the Demon Lord, and was afraid that there would be trouble if they acted together. But Su Yun did not understand, as the sect master's beloved disciple. The three-boned dragon's position was already extremely outstanding. Why was he still so obsessed with the position of the Demon Lord? Although I don't understand, Su Yun did not think about it. Right now, the most important thing is to find out more about the Supreme Sect. Vice Sect Leader, Lord Demon Lord, It is said that there are experts guarding the entrance of the Supreme Sect, and there are countless Supreme Sect people outside. How are we going to move later? Should we sneak into the Supreme Sect? Demon Guard Captain Bloodstain asked. I won't go in. Octagon Aniseed shook his head. Our devil chi is too heavy. It's easy to be discovered. Going in is courting death. It's better to find those people who have already left the Supreme Sect. This subordinate understands. Blood nodded. 20 days later, everyone was close to the entrance of the Supreme Sect. Octagon Aniseed seemed to have taken a long detour. Now that the relationship between the Supreme Sect and the True Devil Sect was so tense, there were people from the Supreme Sect everywhere. This was the vast universe beyond the heavens. His surroundings were filled with resplendent stars, and in an extremely distant place, there was a small floating sphere. On top of it, there was a huge door, and that was the Supreme Sect. And on the right side of the Supreme Sect, there was a white jade platform. This platform was covered in talismans, emitting a dazzling light in the universe. And on top of this platform, there was a large number of people. There were men and women, old and young, all of them dressed in white robes with golden patterns, with long swords on their bodies. They were sitting cross-legged on top of the platform, meditating with their eyes closed. They were chanting something, and their bodies were emitting a strange luster, as if they were cultivating. Looking over, it was densely packed with people, and it was impossible to count them all. The gate to the Supreme Realm was open, and from time to time, people would fly out and sit cross-legged on the platform. The platform was already filled, and when someone came over, the platform would automatically extend outwards, leaving behind a spot. It was extremely magical. Seeing more and more people rushing out of the Supreme Sect, Su Yun's face became extremely serious. It seems like 500,000 people is just a conservative estimate. In terms of time, the Supreme Sect will have to send at least 800,000 people this time. Su Yun said, That's going to be difficult. Octagon Aniseed's face was also heavy, and even his tone of voice was less relaxed than usual. Capture the thief, first capture the king. Think of a way to figure out who is in charge of the Supreme Sect this time, and what their strategy is. Su Yun said. Octagon Aniseed nodded his head. This sect is the craziest. What I'm worried about now is that they won't do anything. If they attack directly like this, then we won't have much time. I don't even have time to use the power of those powers. So you should be prepared early. Su Yun turned his head and looked at Octagon Aniseed. Prepare early? Don't tell me I haven't prepared enough. Octagon Aniseed did not understand. Of course. Let's make our move now. Su Yun said, Where are the demon equipment that you guys took earlier? When the demon guard captain heard this, he immediately cupped his fists and said, They are all here. Bring the teleportation formation over and place it here. Yes, sir. The bloodstain immediately began to move. Demon Lord, what are you doing? We can use this to quickly return to the sect, but this place is too close to the Supreme Sect. What if the people from the Supreme Sect discover the teleportation formation and use it to enter the sect? Octagon Aniseed asked curiously. Just destroy the other end of the teleportation formation. This thing is a rare item. It's not easy to destroy it and recreate it. But if I were to use him to exchange for the life of the commander of the Supreme Sect's operation this time, do you think it would be worth it? Su Yun asked. Hearing that, Octagon Aniseed's eyes lit up. This is definitely worth it. If we can take his life, the Supreme Sect will definitely be in chaos. And this way, we could buy a lot of precious time for our True Devil Sect. But since he could be the commander of this operation, the other party is definitely not an ordinary person. Adding on to the fact that there are so many Supreme Sect people here. Taking his life is like a fantasy story. If you don't try, how do you know it's a fantasy story? Su Yun pulled out the death sword from his back and said, All of you stay here. In a while, I will go in alone and attract the Supreme Sect's firepower. When the Supreme Sect people surround and annihilate me, the commander will definitely appear, and all of you will take the opportunity to kill your way out, or capture the commander, or kill the commander. After that, we will use this teleportation formation to leave. As the sound of his voice faded, Octagon Aniseed was drenched in cold sweat. Don't mess around. Can't you see how many people are there? You can't do that. It's no different from courting death. But right now, time is of the essence, and it is very difficult to obtain the information we want. The people of Supreme Sect will definitely not tell us anything about them. Even if you place a sword on their necks, their crazy faith will not let them betray their own sect. Su Yun said. His expression was especially serious, and he did not seem to be joking. Octagon Aniseed stared at Su Yun. The two of them looked at each other for a long time, and in the end, Octagon Aniseed was defeated. All right, if you really intend to do so, then we'll do as you say. Octagon Aniseed patted Su Yun's shoulder and revealed a smile. I believe you, Demon Lord. Since you dare to say such words, you must have something to rely on. But no matter what, there is always a chance if you are non-match, you can immediately escape. Do you know? With that, he took out a golden Buddha statue from his bosom and handed it over to Su Yun. This thing can protect your life. Wear it. A magic Buddha statue. This was truly a rare sight. However, Su Yun did not take it, but instead patted Octagon Aniseed's shoulder, and with a leap, he flew far away. Octagon Aniseed was startled. Seeing that Su Yun had already walked far away, he regained his senses, laughed bitterly, and shouted towards the demon guard, "Get ready." Yes, sir. The demon guard all pulled out their blades and swords, ready to attack as they stared ahead. Everyone's devil chi began to surge. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.